So it's day 2 of the Nomad Entrepreneur Summit. And today we are going to talk about how to go remote. And we will have amazing speakers again joining us today from different places around the world. And today we are going to start with Bori. Bori is a famous blogger from Hungary, but she's also the main host on Nomad Cruise. She's been helping me to host this event for the last years. And she's also organizing an amazing connection camp in Hungary, which will actually also happen very soon. And so Bori has been doing amazing work on the cruise and in many other ways and impacted people's lives. And so today we are super happy that she will be sharing her talk with us. I am now going to make Bori the co-host of this event. So Bori is able to share the screen and we will zoom out. We hope you enjoy this day. We're going to talk, a lot about going remote and getting started into this nomad life. And we're super excited to have Bori sharing the first talk with us today. You are welcome to start, Bori.
Thank you. Thank you, Johannes, for the nice intro. And I am sharing my screen now, so if all is run. So hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. And I really hope that in this coming 30 minutes, I will be able to give a little tips on how to redesign your life. Just a little note on how I came to speak about this. My origin story, all the Superman have origin stories, and mine is that when I was 25 years old, I wrote down my bucket list, and this bucket list actually became something that everybody started to ask me about, because the bucket list was something that I continuously focused on achieving and creating, and it helped me to create my own life. So I wrote down this bucket list, and the things that I wrote down in this bucket list became my milestones as I look back. In more than a decade, I managed to teach how to write a bucket list and made more than 10,000 people write their bucket list. But after a while, I was thinking, maybe just writing down the bucket list is not enough. There's so much more that follows. And there's so many people asking me how to become a digital nomad, or how to become an entrepreneur, how to live a life that I managed to develop around me. And this is how Life reDesign was born. So I don't want to talk too much about myself, and I only have 30 minutes. So I decided that instead of talking about what happened to me, I'm going to bring you the formula that I've developed in this past, actually more than a decade. So more and more questions were arising, like how to do this, and then I decided that the easiest way to just put it is that I came up with this formula. So here we go. So the formula is going to get 5 + 1 steps. You will see why there is +1, but this is going to be, if you follow this, you will be able to create this life that you probably are longing for right now. All right, so number 1 is going to be a little bit of a cliche, and I'm sorry about this, but I have to put this because number 1 is something that many people actually forget. I realized during these past few years that many people they don't know how to dream. So when I say that I just wrote down my bucket list, many people come back to me and they say, like, yeah, but I don't know, I can sit down and I don't know what to put down into this specific paper. On the other hand, when I ask people, what would you spend your money if you would win the lottery? Many people say, no, actually 80% of the people say they would spend it on 3 things. Can you guess what are the 3 things that they would spend it on? Yes, number 1 would be travel. That you guessed. I know that you guessed it right away. Number 1 is travel. Number two is some kind of investment, probably a house, but also because of the investment mindset. And number three would be donation. So any kind of donation, any kind of charity, helping someone, even helping relatives. So after I was posting this question, asking this question all the time from people, I realized that this is crazy, that 80% of the people I'm asking cannot come up with a valid dream. So this is why I decided that I have to start with step one. What do you want to do? I brought a few ideas on how to do this whole thing. So number one is, oh, I love that the sun started to shine on me. So number one is dream big, and I put the big in brackets because dreaming itself should be enough, and then sometimes it's already difficult for people. So number one is that you should be playful. Many people who come to me, they say, yeah, I would like to travel, but and then they have this face, they have this sad face, they already gave up on the entire thing before actually starting it. So when you're dreaming, just forget about the reality. That's what dreaming about. Like it's not like thinking why I'm not being able to make it. First, you need to think what you want to do and then figure out why you can make it and fix it. So number one, be playful. If you're writing your bucket list, and this is what I want you to do, not now, maybe after the speech, to write down your bucket list. And then this is the second point, write it down. Many people ask me why to write it down. Why? I know it's in my mind, it's in my head. There was somebody who was following me for 20 minutes, explaining to me why he doesn't want to write it down. And I was wondering, why are you spending 20 minutes explaining to me instead of sitting down and writing it down? And you know what? Maybe I'm wrong, and maybe it's not going to work for you. But anyways, so the thing is that I was wondering, and I realized that the reason why they don't want to do it is because it becomes real. So it can be good that it becomes real because then you get one step closer, but you get one step closer to failure as well. So many people are afraid to write it down. It's so scary to fail for them. But on the other hand, failing doesn't have to be shameful. So many people think that they put an equal sign next to failing and shame. But if you see a kid when they're trying to learn to walk, you would never see them feeling ashamed. You would always see them fail, but you would never see them feeling ashamed. So just write it down, get a piece of paper, lit some candles, get your favorite tea, start writing. And then the next tip about dreaming is be specific. So I learned it I want to say hard way, but it wasn't that hard. So I put down, I want to play the piano. And I was thinking, when I started to learn it and going to classes and practicing every day. And I was thinking, when is it going to be the point when I can say, okay, now I know how to play the piano. I'm not sure if it's going to ever, there's going to be one moment. So from that point of view, I actually rewrote the bucket list of these items that were not specific enough so that I could imagine, you can't really imagine learning to play the piano, but you can imagine yourself sitting in a bar and playing that piano. I'm still in the progress though. This still didn't happen. But many other things, thank God. So being specific is also something that some people are forgetting, and then they just write, I want to become a digital nomad. But that's not specific enough. When will you know that you became a digital nomad? Is it your first working in a co-working space? Is it your first moment when you quit your apartment and then you start traveling again, or just the first time? So what is it going to be? It's going to help you as well to imagine. And that's something that's really important, that we imagine it with playfulness. So as soon as we have it, this is the more difficult part, many people, okay, all right, I know how to dream. I'm really good at it. I write down, I put together this piece of paper and I put it into the shelves, and I'm never going to watch it again, never ever. So now we need to start working on making them come true. And you would think that the next one would be to turn the dreams into goals. But actually, that's not true. The next one is to actually, oops, for some reason it doesn't want to go. Wait. The next one is to get rid of your bullshit. So when I talk to people and for example, say I tell them that I was traveling solo for years and years, and I went to South America by myself, and I went to India by myself, and everywhere pretty much for I think 4 years. Many people told me, wait, you cannot travel solo. You cannot, like specifically, like as a girl, you cannot travel alone. And I didn't know, like I didn't get the memo that I cannot travel by myself, so it never was a fear of mine. But apparently, many people thought that it's impossible to travel by yourself. So I went to a conference called Mind Volley, and I heard this expression called rules. Rules are bullshit rules. And what are they? They are these thoughts that are not actually your fears. These are the fears of the society, or maybe your grandparents, or maybe the grandparents of the grandparents, but it's definitely not yours. And you take it as a rule, even though it's not a rule. And it comes with many, many things. So I brought a few examples. First example, work. Like, for example, I hear a lot of time people say, you have to have a great career, and you have to have a diploma to have a great career. I missed that one in the description. So many people think that you have to get like higher education, you have to go to university in order to get a great career. But in reality, there are many ways to establish a great career. There's so many ways how you can reach it. The second one that I brought is freedom. So, for example, for many years, I thought freedom means traveling. If you would be here in front of me, I would ask you to raise your hands if you agree that freedom means traveling. And then this started to limit me because I wanted to go home and I wanted to have a home base. But in some parts of my mind, I had this rule that it's not going to be me if I'm not traveling, and I'm not going to be free if I'm not traveling. So actually, I realized after I went home and I set up my home base that freedom means doing what I want and then realizing what I actually want. And I brought another one, which is living. So you need to have a home. I mean, this is for nomad entrepreneurs. So you need to have a home. They say like this is like rooted in everyone that you need to have a home. What if you don't? What if you can live around the world as you want? So I challenge you that after your bucket list, write down your own personal rules and then just listen to what you have in your mind. Like this constant speech that always tells you what you cannot do and why you cannot do, and what are the rules that prohibits you to reach those list items that you put down into the previous page of your notebook, to your bucket list. There's so many. I suggest you to find a few categories. Like it can be work related, it can be gender related, it can be travel related even. And then just figure out what are the rules that doesn't save you. I'm not saying that fear itself is a bad thing. Fear actually is a wonderful thing. It protects you from death pretty much, because it helps you not to do really crazy things. But sometimes it can go into paranoia and it can go to rules. And then this is the difference that you need to make in this piece of paper. So once you wrote down your rules, or once you wrote down the things that protects you from reaching your dreams, turn them around and find a solution. So as you can see, I said freedom means traveling, but freedom means doing what I want. And when you're turning into reality, like when you're switching them, don't just put a no into there. Like freedom doesn't only mean traveling. Try to come up with many different ideas on what they can be, right? So This is number 2. This is step number 2. Step number 3 is make a plan and commit to it. Let's see what I brought for this one. So this is the time when we are turning these things into reality. So turning all the project items or all the dreams into project items. I do project planning. And wanted to say one credit for the previous one. Rules is coming from Mindfully and Vishen Lakiami. We can come back here. Project planning is something that I always do in the beginning of the year. So I have a few items on my bucket list that I plan for a year, and then this is how I do it. First, I write down what, and then we talked about being specific already. But the second thing, like, who are you gonna be when you are going to reach that goal? So for example, let's just become with like the traveling part. So I always wanted to go to Buenos Aires ever since I was a child. And then I went to Buenos Aires and I went to traveling around in South America. I didn't just like think of like going to South America. I became a traveler, right? So nowadays I'm running and I'm thinking I'm going to put soon running a marathon into my bucket list. And as soon as I put it down, I'm not just going to say I'm going to run a marathon. I'm going to say I'm going to be a runner. So I'm not going to say I want to work and travel freely, but I can say I'm going to become a digital nomad. So name yourself. Who are you going to be as soon as you accomplish what you have in mind? And the other thing is write down the specific moment that we've talked about. So just get a piece of paper. This is going to be your project plan. Write down the title. Who are you going to be? And then write down the moment. You can be as creative as you want. You can also be like the best marathon runner in the world, or just like super woman running the marathon. I don't know. You can be really, you can play and you can have some fun with this. The second one is really important. Why? Why is it important to reach this state? So sometimes I remember when I wrote the first one, I actually cheated. I don't think I said it publicly, but I opened Google. And I was just like, bucket list, what are the general items that are there? And then, of course, there's like swimming with dolphins, which we know already is like maybe not the best idea. Or there's so many things that I wrote down to my bucket list that was simply not mine. And if I would have done it in the beginning, this exercise, why is it important to reach this state? Why do I want to be a marathon runner? Why do I want to become a digital nomad? Then you're going to get closer to that specific, like your vision is going to get clearer. So write down why is it important to reach the state, and then write down what happens if you don't. Are you going to regret it the entire life? If you don't run the marathon, you're going to be unhealthy and fat and I don't know, unfit and all these things. What happens if you don't do it? Like sometimes we just forget about it because we always say tomorrow we're going to do this, tomorrow we're going to do that. What happens if tomorrow never comes? So it's super important to do this exercise. I think it's really valuable. And then we go deep inside the how. And then the how, it can be as long as you want. Write down the milestones that you need to reach. Who will be helping you? What are the resources that are going to be there to help you? So all these things are going to be extremely important and extremely helpful and useful for you. If you write down this point, you don't have to make a structure, just like brain dump everything that you have there. And then comes the next, still in the project plan. So we talked about what, why, how, and then when. And then I wanted to have a separate slide for this. When. So this is the commitment, because committing to your dreams, actually making them goals. So when is actually when you decide when is the milestone going to happen. So let's talk about marathon. 1 year, I want to run the marathon. That means that in the next quarter, I need to hit my 15K mark. In order to do that, I need to hit my 7K mark, and probably next week I need to start running for that. Maybe I'm a little bit over that, but so you understand. I brought the running because I think it's easier to see with the kilometers and everything. I'm not a marathon runner, so maybe these are a little bit off. but you understand what I'm trying to say. And then when you get to the month, then you can do a weekly plan. So if you check your weekly plan, you always check like what's the goal for this month, and then add it to your calendar. So the next exercise is to do this and then add everything to your Google Calendar. And this Google is going to tell you if you forget something and if you haven't done what you promised for yourself. And then we arrive to the point like your Google Calendar is going to be full with all sorts of different exercises and promises that you made for yourself. One is learn to work smart. In order to learn to work smart, we need to talk about productivity. And yes, we are not talking about learning how to work a lot, because nobody wants to work a lot. You need to learn how to be more productive. And I brought 2 really good methods that really helped me. And then I needed to learn this as well. So in order to do many, many things that I wanted, and it's also if you're planning to become a digital nomad or not, working smart is going to give you free time. And if you have free time, you will be able to do the things that you need to do in order to get to the dreams. So first of all, know your rhythm. And this took me 10 years until I figured out my own rhythm. First of all, I am a sprinter. I like to work in a way like Nomad cruise, for example, that I have a deadline and I need to work, and then I stop and then I can rest. There are marathon runners who are more constant workers. So knowing this rhythm and also knowing your time rhythm, your daily rhythm. In the morning, for example, I'm a little bit more less creative, so to say. I like administrative jobs. I like to check my emails and then do all these things. And for some reason, between 4 and 6, I'm way more creative. This is the strategy planning. This is what helps me. The other helpful tip here is do a to-do list, obviously, and then do the ones that scares you. Like those are the ones that you have to do first. So for example, if I'm talking about administrative tasks, I do the ones that are just, you think about it and then, no, I really don't want to do it. Like that's usually those are the ones that you postpone for months. You sit down and make a deep breath and then just do the ones that scare you first. I promise you that it's going to boost your productivity to the sky. And step 5, find your balance with the routines. So many times when I talk about routines and finding your balance with it, people think that my morning routine is about 2 hours. That cannot be far from the truth. Sometimes, though, I have 2-hour morning routines. And what I figured why people are so, they have difficulties finding the routines is because it's the same with the bucket list. They are not using their own routines. So they sit down and try to meditate because you should meditate. Well, you shouldn't meditate if you feel that you should meditate. Or they sit down and write a diary because they heard that it's good. So try everything out, but if it doesn't match your routine, don't implement it. And then this is number 1. And this is the number 2 is that you try to do too much in just one day. So you have like, okay, now I'm going to learn how to do the morning routine, and then you do it for 3 weeks, and then you give up because you get tired. So that's why I developed the aim for the imperfection. I created a balance board. The balance board was taking all the things that I wanted to do in a week, routine-wise, and I checked if I posted if I did with red or green. So if I didn't do it, it was red. If I did it, it was green. So at the end of the week, the board had to have both colors. So aim for imperfection. Whatever habits, I know that it's against all the habit things that you're saying, but the way how you manage to develop all these habits is that you sometimes, if you're okay with the fact that you're skipping a few days. Keeping your balance is super important, because if you don't have balance, if you don't have morning routines, if you don't have routines, specifically if you're aiming for becoming a digital nomad or you're already a digital nomad, then it's going to be way more difficult to be productive. If you're not so productive, then it's going to be way more difficult to reach those goals that you wanted to reach and then create the life that you wanted. And I wrote number 6, or as we can call it, number 0, because finding your tribe actually can come first above everything that we've talked, or it can actually lead to all the things that we've talked about today. So your tribe, if you're surrounded by people who understand you, who know who you are, who are on the same path as you are, they're going to help you go through all the 5 steps. But also, if you go through all the 5 steps, it's inevitable to find all these people who are going to get you. There was one time when I went to Palma de Mallorca, and I was really busy because I was getting onto Nomad Cruise, my first time in my life, and all these backpackers around me, they were getting ready and getting ready to go out, and meanwhile I was just working, and I looked up, and there were 5 other people working, and I just like shouted, "Are you digital nomads?" And they were like, "Yes." And then they continued working, and I felt such a relief that I found my tribe. And I know that you know what I'm talking about, like the people who don't think you are weird. So I brought you one thing as an extra for the entire presentation, because I'm running out of time and I want you to have questions. This is the reason why I invented and then founded Belong Fest. Belong Fest was founded 2 years ago. It's in an old alcohol factory, which is super epic in Hungary, and it's a micro festival. I don't know if you heard the term micro festival. It means that we are a limited number of people just in order to find these connections. So this is specifically for digital nomads, solopreneurs, and people who are interested about this. I call them freedom seekers. So it's a weekend. It's not too long. It's only 2 nights, and we have all sorts of workshops and acro yoga and all sorts of different type of connection activities like speed networking, and we're going to have a Nomad Olympics as well. So if you're thinking about coming, we play, learn, dance, and laugh, and all these fun things. And the whole program is designed to make friends or to just hang out with the people you may already know. Here you can find the address, belongfest.com, and then there's a coupon with what you can find the ticket for early bird price until the 7th of June, and the coupon code is Web for Travel. And you can find the tickets on Belong Fest. And if you want me to help you throughout this journey, and then the live redesign 5 program, then you can just hit me up on Instagram with backpacker.hu, or on the email address hello@vigbury.hu. HU is Hungary. That's why there is this at the end. I never thought that I might need to explain this. But thank you so much. I wish you that you would have a wonderful, wonderful new life that you're designing for yourself. Please tag me whenever you're done with all these exercises that I gave to you. I hope that it was hands-on enough. Please don't just forget about this whole presentation, but actually sit down and do the exercises. I promise you, it's going to make amazing changes in your life. Thank you so much.
Cool, Bori, thanks a lot. It was a nice start of this beautiful presentation, and it stresses out even more how it's important to find your own style, right? Because definitely there are some common things, but everybody is a special person, and we need to listen to ourselves first and design the life around how we want it to be. So thank you a lot. I invite you to provide the link to your Belong Fest in the comments below, right? So people can get to know. I'm not sure if there are available places yet, because behind the scenes you told that it's almost busy, almost full, or so on. But anyway, guys who are here alive, you have a chance to join. And since Hungary is very central and cool place in summer, I believe maybe I can even come. We'll see.
Yay!
Yeah, cool. Thanks a lot. Also, I would like to stress out, guys, how important is the belonging of the community, right? Because since most of us work online, or most people want to work online, and once you're already a nomad, then you start realizing that one of the most beautiful things is live interaction, right? And you start realizing this only when you work online. So even after yesterday, many people were keeping asking us, like, guys, what's happening after the conference? Because there should be a way somehow to stick together. And the mastermind showed a really cool example how it's possible to collaborate and going far together. I would like to have a small pre-announcement that during next week we're going to telling more about the virtual community we're going to launch together with Johannes. Just stay alert, get to know the information fast, and we'll be telling more about this, that we are going to form some kind of formal community in order to stay together even after the conference is conducted. And now we are basically ready to go to our next speaker. I see he is already here. Just before I give the floor to Samson, I would like to tell that as yesterday, the same as tomorrow, every day we are doing giveaways, right? Yesterday, Marcus already received his 5-day stay in a co-living in Lviv, Ukraine. And today, guys, we are going to give away 5 days stay in Benidorm. It's a resort town on the eastern coast of Spain, in a 4-star apart hotel, including co-working. If you like this opportunity, if you would like to visit Benidorm on such conditions, please, guys, write in the comments now here, so I understand that we are on the same wave. And in the meantime, I'm just sharing a link. Let me just do the sharing the screen. Johannes, can you please give me the rules to share the screen? Just a second. Oh, up, please, please, please. Okay, now it's here. So just for you to know, because they are our partners and they are developing their city not simply as a beach holiday for vacation tourists, but also, as you know, after the pandemic, a lot of tourist towns in Europe start to adapt to nomads. And these are very good news. So I'm going to share you the link about their presentation, how Benidorm, the Spanish resort town, is adapting to the life of digital nomads. Yeah, you can take a look on the video of other conditions, what are happening there. And in the end of this second day, we'll be doing the giveaway itself. So those of you who would like to visit Benidorm, I recommend you to stay all day long until the end. And first of all, there are going to be some impressive presentations. And secondly, you will have such a nice bonus. Yes, so take a look at this. And at the moment, I am happy to present our next speaker, Samson.
And I also just quickly want to say thank you, Bori. Thank you so much for doing the talk. We are now, you are welcome to leave now.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the opportunity. And bye. Thank you so much.
Really looking forward to connect offline very soon as well. And I can also recommend highly the Belong Camp. Bori has been organizing amazing things in Hungary. So make sure you check this out. You follow this as well. Thank you so much, Bori. And
thank you so much.
Later. Thank you.
Bye. Goodbye.
Good luck. See you. Yeah. And as I understand, Samson is about to join our speaker's room. So a few words about him. As you could notice in the comments, he is now in Albania. At least this is what I have seen. Samson is running an online design agency, but his talk now will be connected to the topic of how to leave the corporate rat race and reach the financial freedom. Very interesting topic, by the way. There will be another speaker in 2 days, Slavic, about talking about the same stuff. To me personally, I never worked in the corporate world, so it also might be interesting to have this perspective of other people, how to make this transition. And I'm sure you're excited to listen to Samson. If yes, put plus, put different other possible words that can express your feeling, and we are waiting Samson in our room. Johannes, is Samson somewhere here?
Yes, Samson We just introduced you already, actually. Maybe you heard this with a little time delay. You're just hearing it now on the channel. But you're actually ready. Yeah, are you ready for your talk?
Yes, absolutely.
That's perfect. Great. So we're going to make you a co-host now so you can share if you have a presentation.
It says it's disabled participant screen sharing.
Now you are in a second.
Great.
So the room is yours.
Okay.
And we're looking forward to your talk. We just did the introduction already for you. And yeah, thanks for joining us here today. And yeah, looking forward to hear your story today.
Great.
Also might be interesting to have this perspective.
Hello and welcome. I am going to tell you about my journey. 10 years ago, I am sitting in a cubicle like this. I'm working 9 to 6 in a large bank as a web designer. My first job out of university. I'm getting paid well, and my friends thought it was great. My parents thought it was great. I thought it was great, but it was not great. I hated trying to be the first one to send an email on a Monday morning. I hated feeling obligated to go to the pub with the team. I hated the endless performance reviews, the pointless 3-hour meetings, and the bureaucracy. I was a product of the culture. It was an idea for me to get a job in the city for a large corporation. That was what I was supposed to aspire to. Soon I would try to get a wife, a mortgage, a labradoodle, and 2.4 children. But instead I got fat, I got depressed, and one day the chief executive called me a pixel-pushing monkey boy. And that was the final straw. So I quit. And I flew to Guatemala to start a new life in the tropics. As I'm sure many freelancers, digital nomads did, they started freelancing. And it was what I did. It was a massive life-changing moment and very important for myself to take this step away from the corporate world, from the world that I was expected to go into, and do something that was more meaningful to me. Because guilt is society's voice talking in your head. I found it very difficult to realize what I wanted to do in life, what I wanted, what was important to me. And I was living other people's dreams. I was living my parents' dreams. I was living the dreams of society. I don't know where they came from, but they were there and they were very loud. And I thought they were mine. But they only made me sad. They only made me depressed. So I started to ask myself one question every single day. If I love myself, what would I do? And this question quite simply transformed my entire life. If I loved myself, what would I do? And I realized it wasn't working in a cubicle 9 till 6. It was doing something that meant more to me. So I'm going to ask everyone here right now to close their eyes and join me in a small meditation to reflect on what it is that you want to do. So close your eyes and breathe in through your nose holes and out through your mouth. What do you want? Complete this sentence. I want. You might want money. You might want fame. But what I think you all really, truly want is freedom. Freedom to do what you want, when you want, how you want, and the way that you want. This is the way that all humans should be living. And this is the way that I want you to live. So I was reflecting in Guatemala on what the hell do I want? Now I've come all the way to the other side of the world. Here I am, sitting, having a nice cup of coffee, doing a little bit of freelancing. And I'm like, wow, actually, freelancing is not so great. This isn't right for me. So I started, as many people have done recently, to meditate. And it was whilst meditating that I realized that I was reading that unlucky people are more tense, anxious, and stressed than lucky people. Anxiety disrupts people's ability to notice the unexpected. And in one experiment, people asked to watch a moving dot in the center of the screen. Without warning, large dots would occasionally be flashed at the edges of the screen. Nearly all participants missed these large dots. The experiment was repeated, and the group were offered a financial reward for accurately watching the dot in the center. But this created more anxiety for them, and every single person missed the dots flying around the outside. And so what this experiment shows us is that for us to be open to opportunity, we need to be relaxed. We need to be calm. And to be calm, the best thing to do is to meditate. So I tried yoga. I did one yoga video and I thought, this is for me. And I booked the next ticket to India. And here I am. I went to an ashram and I did yoga every single day for a month. And this was very beneficial for me. I spent time reflecting inwards, trying to find out what it is that I'm looking to do. What is important to me? And then I went to Bali. And the rains had come on a wet Tuesday on Bali. And I was waiting to see a spiritual healer, a woman with a godlike presence and eyes that see right through you. She entered the room and I could feel her eyes coming out of the sockets and into the air. I wasn't quite sure of the most appropriate greeting, so I did a confused half stand, half bow, half prayer, half salute maneuver that was altogether very awkward. She laughed immediately and she told me, "Oh, you're a funny boy!" And she laughed, a real honest laugh, a real belly laugh. Ha ha ha! You think too much, Western boy. Too much thinking. You are very bright, but too much thinking. Immediately, she had my number. She knew what I was about. It was obvious. She continued, "Do you practice meditation?" I said, yes, I do. I do daily meditations. I do visualizations. I do loving kindness meditations. I do breathing meditations, mindfulness meditations, mantra meditations, yoga meditations. And she said, too many meditations. Do you know the meaning of mindfulness? I said, well. And she said, no, you don't. You need to meditate in the strip club. You need to meditate in the most stressful, overwhelming moments of your life. Life is a meditation. If you want to find peace, you should go and meditate in a Vipassana. And so this Balinese woman sent me to do a 10-day meditation retreat. I wasn't quite sure what Vipassana was, but I found out and I decided to do it. And I completed this 10-day silent meditation retreat. And afterwards, I had some revelations about my entire life. It was the most transformative experience I have ever had. I'm not sure that I changed or grew, but I saw there was at least potential for growth, which actually turned out to be more humbling, more settling. I was keen to see what the effects will be in my day-to-day life. I had seen that my self-discipline had the opportunity to increase. And I felt like I had relearned the opportunity to savor the earth, what it was like to be young again, to stop being a fat child, shoving cake into my mouth hole. I've seen what a selfish, self-absorbed, frightened bastard I was, and I forgave myself for it. I was overwhelmed with stimuli and not looking at how I can learn quietly from within. I was trying to travel the world and inhale every experience I could find. And that was wrong. I realized that I was a slave of my mind when I wanted to be the master. So I decided I didn't want to make someone else's dream anymore. I didn't want to be a freelancer. I wanted to make my own business. And it was at this moment that I decided to quit freelancing. And what I did was I turned what I knew into a product. So I was a web designer. I was a designer by trade. I was freelancing, creating websites. And the first thing that I did was I started to make templates. And I would put these on a marketplace. And I made a template and I was excited. I put it online. I woke up the next day, ready to reel in the millions. That was it, time for retirement. And I had sold a zero. But I didn't go up there. I decided to make another template. And I created another template. And I put it online. And I woke up the next day and I had sold one. And I was overjoyed. I was elated. This was it. This was the step to freedom. But in total, I have only sold 8 of that template. But I made a third template. And this one did a little bit better. And this graphic design template has sold more than 10,000 copies. And I realized that the 10 hours that I put into this one template ended up making me more than $20,000, which worked out at $2,000 an hour. And I was like, wow, that's amazing. I made some serious mullah. So I decided to continue making more templates, expanding, and not just expanding on the templates by building a team, but also expanding sideways into other areas that I could expand my business. So I created a blog, a graphic design blog, not only to promote my templates, but to promote other people's templates and earn affiliate income and advertising income. I built a team of designers and writers and editors. And we would take on design projects. And these would be used to generate another source of income. And so I kept looking for ways that I could add sensible revenue streams to my business that made sense to what I was doing. I'm now going to tell you a little story that helped me immensely as I hit some tough times with my business. One of my marketplaces got shut down. One of my designers left. I ended up with a large tax bill, and it was touch and go. But here's a little story that helped me through this time. Once upon a time, there was a Chinese farmer whose horse ran away. That evening, all of his neighbors came around to commiserate. They said, "We are so sorry to hear your horse has run away. This is most unfortunate." The farmer said, "Maybe. The next day, the horse came back, bringing 7 wild horses with it. And in the evening, everybody came back and said, "Oh, isn't that lucky? What a great turn of events. You now have 8 horses." The farmer again said, "Maybe." The following day, his son tried to break one of the horses, and while riding it, he was thrown and broke his leg. The neighbors then said, "Oh dear, that's too bad." And the farmer responded, "Maybe." The next day, the conscription officers came to conscript people into the army, and they rejected his son because he had broken his leg. Again, all the neighbors came around and said, "Isn't that great?" Again, the farmer said, "Maybe." The whole process of nature is an integrated process of immense complexity. And it's really impossible to tell whether anything that happens is good or bad, because you never know what will be the consequence of misfortune, or you never know when it will be good fortune or bad fortune. I was in Bali a number of years ago, And suddenly I lost a large client. Out of the blue, he canceled the project and cut pretty much 90% of my income. I was out of money. And I was like, oh God, this is terrible. This is awful luck. What the hell am I going to do? But a friend said to me, let's go on a road trip. Let's go to Lombok. So I was like, wow, what a fantastic idea. This is brilliant. I'm so lucky. We'll go to Lombok. So we got on our little mopeds and we drove down to the port. And there was a man at the port and we asked him, when's the next boat? And he said, no boats today. Tide's too high. And I was like, no, this is terrible luck. This is awful. I can't believe it. What rotten, bloody bastard luck. I was infuriated. And so we went all the way back to our house. And I thought, Christ, the world is against me. And so I went to a meditation ceremony that evening to try and get over my disappointment. And as I was meditating, suddenly the earth began to shake. Not just a little bit, but violently. And everyone in the meditation ceremony leapt up and sprinted out of the building in absolute fear. There was a huge earthquake occurring. And what transpired was that the epicenter of the earthquake was actually in the exact town that we were heading to on Lombok. And it was a severe earthquake that killed thousands of people. And so what turned out to be good luck for us had originally been very bad luck. And what I learned is that you never know whether a situation is good for you or bad for you. And so I've learned in business and in life not to overreact to whatever happens. So luck is your own interpretation. You choose what is important. I want to tell you that luck is underrated. It is a psychological construct that you can use to your advantage. Lucky people think they are lucky. Unlucky people think they are unlucky. There are three things that you can do to improve your ability to be lucky. The firstly is to get more motion. Keep moving. The more hits you make, the more home runs you're going to take. The second thing you can do is you can prepare more. You can study, you can build your knowledge, you can assimilate learnings. And this prepares you for that moment when luck appears to take that opportunity. And the third thing you can do is use your uniqueness to become lucky. You can become lucky just by utilizing your own fantastic individuality. For example, I am now taking my experience as a designer and my experience as being an improv artist and combining them to create a YouTube channel that is about my comedic adventures as a designer. And I encourage you all to follow me on YouTube for some more interesting escapades. So take the luck you make. You all deserve it. And follow me at Delightful Design. Thank you very much. Greetings from sunny Albania.
Thank you so much, Samson. That was a great talk. And yeah, sharing that story, especially about the luck. Yeah, I think that resonates very much with me, right? Like the luck is something that you can create yourself and take responsibility for that. We are a little bit short on time. If anyone basically now has got some questions, please type them in the comments. We have this little time delay here, so we will only see this yeah, a little bit later. And then we have Marisa joining us. Are there any tips for someone who's just, you know, starting out now? What was your, like, what is something if someone is like just about to become nomadic, move from corporate life? Anything you want to share maybe in the meantime?
Yeah, I would recommend everyone to use every problem as an opportunity to grow. To use every challenge and turn it into a positive. there is always a way to reframe every hurdle as your next step up.
Yeah, that is very, very true. And there have been so many problems in the last 2 years for us. And some took these problems and used them as an opportunity, and others just simply complained about it. I think that is a very good statement here for the end of the talk. Wait, we have a few more minutes actually. So you are in Albania now, and you're working from there remotely. And are you staying there for long, or heading to other places? What is your plans?
Yes, so I'm here in Albania, sunny Albania. We're down on the Mediterranean coast. This is Corfu in the background. I'm here with my girlfriend who's been supporting me with this talk. She's in the background here.
Amazing. Okay.
And we've been living in Bansko, Bulgaria. And I know that you've got Mateus from co-working Bansko talking on Friday. And so we've really been enjoying living in that ecosystem of nomads. And I can highly recommend coming down to Bansko. There's also going to be a festival there in a few weeks, and I'm going to be talking at that as well. And I can highly recommend the people there. And our plans are to go back there in a few weeks and spend the summer in beautiful Bulgaria.
That sounds awesome. And actually, we have Matthias who will also be sharing his talk about Bansko here on the last day. He just joined us. He will be joining us as a speaker, and we'll also talk about the Bansko Nomad Fest, which is happening. When is it happening? End of June, right?
Yes, the last week of June, first week of July.
Perfect. So, and I might see you there as well. I need to see how I can make my travel planning. Thank you so much, Samson, for this talk. We are going to switch now to the next thing. So you're welcome to sign out.
Signing off.
And hope to see you soon. Hopefully in
Thank you.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure. Hope to catch up soon. Ciao for now.
Thank you. So now we have Marisa joining us.
Hello.
Where are you right now?
I'm actually back in the States temporarily. I just got back from Guatemala.
That sounds great. Very good. And I saw you've been actually traveling quite a lot in the last month, right?
Yeah, the past 6 months, really. I was back for a while during COVID and then kind of started entering my way in the world again.
That is great. So we're gonna just switch directly to your talk now, okay? And you'll be sharing some possibilities for nomads to work, and you've been coaching a lot of people actually in this space.
Yeah.
So you definitely know what you're talking about, and that is, it's very good to have you here today.
Thanks.
I
It's so
will
good
now
to be
make
here.
you a co-host.
Okay.
So then you have the possibility to share your screen as well if you need.
All right. Let's see.
Is it working for you?
Yeah. Got it. You
Okay.
can see everything.
Perfect. So I'm just gonna sign out now, and really looking forward to your talk. And,
Perfect. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much for being here today.
Yeah, I can't wait to chat. So welcome, everybody. My name is Marisa Meddin. And as Johanna said, I am a career coach for digital nomads. I've been doing this for many years as I have traveled full-time as a nomad myself. I'll tell you a little bit how I got there. But today, my question for you is, do you have a desire to travel the world? Maybe you are already out there and looking for a job that you'll love, or maybe you are not yet traveling and wondering, what is the best way to start? So today I'm going to talk about one of those ways, which is getting a remote job. And we're going to talk about 7 critical questions that I ask all of my clients to figure out which career is right for you. So I'm going to take you through a couple of the common careers and things first, but let's jump in. So to start with, if you're watching, I'd love if you could just write down, if you could go anywhere in the world tomorrow, where would you go? So think about it, dream, like what's that dream place on your list that you haven't gotten to, maybe close by, maybe far away. Feel free to take it out of the notes on your phone or write it down on a piece of paper, but just kind of keep this in mind. We'll come back to it. Okay, so what we are going to cover today, we're going to talk about how to travel the world while still progressing in your career. So you don't have to choose between the two, and why there's actually never been a better time to do this, as you're going to hear from a lot of people today. The one fastest and easiest method to start traveling the world while working as soon as possible. The 7 most common careers that digital nomads do while traveling the world full time, and which remote career path is right for you specifically. This is a really big one that holds a lot of people back, so I want to make sure to help you with this today. So by the end of the session, you're going to walk away knowing what type of companies that you'd be really excited to work for, and also specifically, like really tactically, which jobs to search for on job boards. So real quick, who am I even, and why am I here talking to you about this today? It's been quite a journey getting here. So I've been a digital nomad for a little over 5 years. I've lived in and visited over 60 countries to date, a lot of these while working full time. I'm home at the moment. And I had a friend ask me yesterday, she was like, "Are you really working while you're in all these places?" I was like, "Yes, I promise." People have a really hard time believing this, but it's so possible. There's so many people here who are proof of that. So I actually started a really traditional path. I went to one of the top business schools in the US, and I did all the things and the jobs and the path that I just didn't know any better. I thought I was supposed to do. So while I was at university, I worked in the Career Center. I've always kind of had this obsession with helping people with the job search and recruiting, and I learned a ton during this time. And I actually went on to go work for Pepsi and a very traditional brand marketing career for 6 years in both New York and LA. And I worked with a lot of celebrities, walked the red carpets, did all of the seemingly glamorous things. And I show you this because none of this was worth the freedom to me that I now have traveling the world. So it's really important to understand, what are your priorities, what you want. And so many people wish, if my friends wanted this job, but I realized that freedom in traveling was far more important to me. So I actually negotiated with Pepsi. I started working remotely for them for 2 years before I actually quit my job there, started several businesses, and began traveling the world. So to start, I actually started an e-commerce bakery company. A lot of people don't know this. I found I didn't like baking. It was a family business I brought back to life, but I had, read the 4-hour work week, and I did everything remotely after I kind of got it big enough to scale where I could hand off a lot of the baking. And I was like, I'm going to run this from my computer, but I still didn't like the business. I went on to create an automated course helping families navigate college admissions in the US. So this was a lot more of what I liked to do, but it was still more helping with college. What I really loved was helping with careers. I just hadn't quite figured out how to do this, or what it was really that I wanted to do yet. So it was actually while I was running this college business, living as a digital nomad, I became really obsessed with helping people discover their dream career path, because I had been through so much and had always loved it. And during my time at Pepsi, I'd done a lot of recruiting, bringing people to the marketing team, recruiting on campus, doing interviews, looking at resumes. And it's really become my joy to help people figure out not only which careers are right for you, but how do you do it while traveling. So I actually teamed up with Diego here, who is the co-founder of Wi-Fi Tribe. We started a company called Beach Commute. Wi-Fi Tribe is a community of 1,000 digital nomads. And here we specifically help people, I'll talk about later, figure out how do you get that remote job. So again, number one goal is how do we help people have the ability to travel the world while working full time? So my question is, do you have a dream to travel more of the world, but maybe you're not currently traveling as much because you're limited by the amount of vacation time in your current job, or you feel you can't yet afford to travel to all of those destinations that you've been dreaming about? Maybe you just really care about your career progression and you have in your head that it can only be one or the other. You can travel or progress in your career and you can't have both. This is absolutely not true. And maybe you really care about saving for the future, making that income. And you're not the type to just think, okay, I'm going to quit my job, go travel around the world for months or a year, burning through my savings, even though it would be a lot of fun. So what's the solution? There's several different ones, but the one we're here today to talk about this whole summit is, how do you work while you travel, i.e. live as a digital nomad? So you're probably familiar, I won't go into too much detail, but you might be wondering, what exactly is a digital nomad? So you're going to see a lot of cliche pictures like this one, which really aren't usually the case. If you're in the sun, you can't see your computer very well. But a lot of times we really do work just meters from here on our laptops, and you have the freedom anywhere you could do work on a laptop, whether you were at an office in your hometown, in your home, in your apartment, at a cafe, in your hometown. If you could be doing that on a computer, you can be doing that from any country as long as you've got a solid Wi-Fi connection. So there are really 3 different ways to work remotely. You can work as an employee, which is what I'm going to cover mostly today. And this is where you find a company, an existing company, who will hire you, pay you usually, every 2 weeks or 4 weeks, a specific salary that you've agreed to. It's a very sure thing, and you can do this really quickly. Next is a freelancer, which you'll hear some people talk about today. This is another great option. You are freer, as the name implies, but sometimes you don't always know where your next paycheck is going to come from. So it can be a scary place to start sometimes. And then what a lot of this summit is about this time is an entrepreneur. So I'm an entrepreneur. A lot of people love this route. It's exciting. You have freedom. You're hopefully working on something you really care about, but it can take time to get started to actually make enough money to support yourself while traveling. So you'll hear a ton of different great tips on how to go the entrepreneur route if that is what you so desire. And a lot of people will do this on this, on the side as a side hustle as you're traveling, get it started. So if your number one goal, if you're not yet traveling or living as a digital nomad and you really want to be, you're in the right place today. So what I want to talk about is how to figure out what remote job is right for you and to actually get hired as an employee. So this is the quickest, the easiest, the fastest, and the most reliable way to make an income while you can travel the world right away. So if you're ready to figure out which remote career is right for you, let's dig in. So I first want to start to talk about what are the 7 most common remote careers for digital nomads. And this is based off of Wi-Fi Tribe's community of 1,000 people, where we've literally looked at the data. So it's not just a guess. It's not just like, here's kind of what people do. This is real data based on 1,000 people. So I want to take you through these 7 to start. So you just start to get some ideas of what are a lot of people doing. And then we'll talk about some uncommon ones and what's right for you. So the first one is marketing. So with marketing, this is a really popular one because there's so many different types of marketing roles out there. You can do social media, advertising, email marketing, partnerships, different strategies. But ultimately, if you have a real love for understanding what do consumers want, what do people need, why do they make the choices they do? If you're creative or analytical, a lot of people think marketing is only creative, but a lot of it can be looking at data as well, then this could potentially be a good path for you. So next is writing. We've got a lot of writers in the digital nomad community. And this isn't just writing fiction or novels. A lot of people are hired to write blog content, write different emails for companies, copywriting for websites, or editing. You can do technical writing. So if you have a passion for a specific, a different knowledge, it could be for cryptocurrencies, right? You could do technical writing for that. And then there's script writing. You can do TV shows, radios, ads, all sorts of things. So if you're good with words, if you love storytelling, if you like wordsmithing, if you can just type super fast, every company, not every company, but a ton of companies really do need writers. Next is design. So there's also a lot of different roles within design. So you might think of graphic design or logos, branding, like the beach commute logo you see in the corner here. But there's also people who are designing websites. There's UI and UX, which is user interface or user experience. So if you think about the beautiful websites or apps that you're seeing, and somebody really thought through what's the flow of that app, what's the design of that website, so that it really functions best for the experience for the consumer. So if you've got an eye for design, if you really like to make things look beautiful, this could be a good route for you. Next is customer support. So if you love helping people, if you are upbeat, friendly, or a good communicator, this could be a great path. So this is the type of role, if you think about someone who's responding to emails, to phone calls, to chat messages, if someone has a problem, typically, someone in customer support is there to answer those questions, make that person feel good about the brand, the service that they are experiencing. So next up, number 5 is project management. So who is this for? If you are type A, a natural planner, you're really organized, you like to break projects down, you're good at juggling lots of different things at once, I think this should have been me in a different lifetime. This might be for you. So there's tons of different fields. Almost every kind of growing company or big company needs project management. So you could work with engineers, financial services, tech, healthcare, software development, marketing, you name it, people need it. Number 6 is programming. This is a really common one among digital nomads because it's always really just been based in your own time on your computer building things out. So if you've ever seen the people with the black screens and all the code, this is over my head. I was not meant to do this one, but tons of people love this. You can get into it by taking a boot camp, learning by yourself. But if you love to solve problems, you can kind of Google things on YouTube or on Google to figure out how to do something. This could be a great path for you. And the last most common one is HR or recruiting, these kind of fields. So if you're good with people, good at communicating, you're approachable, you care about the growth of others, this could be a great role for you. So these are type of roles such as filling job openings, managing company policies, conflicts, salaries, benefits, making sure employees are generally happy at the company. These are roles such as an HR coordinator or a specialist, recruiter, trainer, something like that. So those are the 7 most common ones. And I felt it was really important to take you through this to start, just so you can get an idea of again, these are the 7 kind of broad categories, but there's probably 20 different subsets within each of these that are absolutely a possibility to do remotely. Some other uncommon examples that we've seen and that we've personally traveled with are roles such as a human rights lawyer, an investor, an English teacher, a music producer, songwriter, game designer, a Bitcoin blogger, poker player. And this was a fun one, a neurosurgeon and a neuroscientist. So while he was often doing surgery, where that is not typically a remote role, you are in a hospital, he actually had a month or 2 where he was just doing research. And he said, okay, well, I'm doing research on my computer. Why couldn't I do that from Colombia or Asia or anywhere I want to be, right? So even if you're, some people think I have to be remote 12 months out of the year, there's ways to do this if there's something that you really love. So I share these with you to say, if there's something that you really love to do or you're currently doing, don't rule it out because there are so many ways to figure out how to make these roles remote. So we actually have a list of 91 actual real jobs that digital nomads do in our community if you're interested in downloading those. So if so, you can go to beachcommute.com/NES and you'll get a list of those 91 jobs. And I'll also send you with that the slides as well. So if you're trying to write down all these careers and especially the questions I'm going to ask you next, you can just go to this website. I can tell you again at the end if you don't want to do it right now, so that you can have these slides. And it's really cool just to look at a list of those 91 jobs to start to get inspired and see, oh my gosh, there's so many things that people are doing remotely. Okay, so the part you're waiting for, let's figure out which remote career is right for you. So we're going to start with 7 really important questions that I ask all of my clients personally, whether I'm working with them one-on-one, in a group. People pay a lot of money, and I'm super excited to do this with you guys today. And these are all questions that I wish that people had asked me when I was 14, 15, 16, 17 years old. We really, in society, don't do a good job of figuring out what are we actually good at and what do we actually like doing and how can we get paid to do that? So the first question is, what topic could you read about or talk about for just hours on end? So some of you, it might be travel if you're here, but think about what books are you reading? What blog posts are you clicking through on? Are there certain topics that you're following on Instagram or Twitter or any social media? So again, think about if you had someone next to you and you could just jam out and just be so excited to talk about, it could be several topics. It could be anything. It could be sleep. It could be skateboarding. It could be saving the world in some sort of way. Like anything that comes to mind. What are you reading about? What are you talking about? And by the way, we're going to go through this quick because we have limited time. So again, if you want to download the slides afterwards, you can start to think about them now, but you can either rewatch this or download the slides to go through these later when you have more time, but start thinking about it at least. So number 2 is what activities do you like to do in your spare time? So this might overlap with the things you talk about. So if you love to talk about skateboarding and you also like to skateboard, these overlap. But it might also be that you like to crochet blankets, or you love to paint, or anything that it might be a certain exercise, anything you like to do in your spare time, or if you had more time. Next, this is a really important one. Who or what cause do you love helping? So when I think about the who, I have a friend who loves helping elderly people. It might be that you love helping babies or children. It might be that there's people in a certain country or a certain ethnicity or race that you feel really passionate about helping. And then there's also specific causes. So maybe think about, do you love helping the world figure out how to recycle materials, solve global warming, save the polar bears, save the bees, it could be anything. What's that cause? Or are you trying to figure out how to solve the energy crisis? Like anything that comes to mind. You don't have to be doing it, but if there was a cause or a type of person or group of people, what do you love helping? Maybe there's a specific illness that has run in your family or that you've lost someone to. It might be that you care about that. So get creative here. Lastly, for this first subset of questions, this is a big one. If you were laying on your deathbed, what would you be proud to say about your life? So some people will just say, I was a great husband, sister, brother, mother, daughter. But you might also say, I was really proud to say that I did X, Y, or Z, or that I was this type of person. So, again, if you want to download the slides, you can go to beachcommute.com/NES, because I know we're going through a lot of these questions really quickly, and I want to make sure you have these afterwards. But these first 4 questions that you answered, these are your interests and the things that you really care about. So what do you do with information? The answers to these first 4 questions should really guide the type of company that you'll potentially want to work for. So if you're going the entrepreneurial route and you happen to be watching this as well, this might be the company that you want to start as well. So some examples that I've personally had with my clients have been things like surfing, language, philosophy, work-life balance, sleep, self-esteem, science fiction, sports, makeup, like war veterans, working out, mental health, you name it. So whatever the answers that you got for questions 1 through 4, that should be with the company's either mission or the products that they offer or the services that they offer. So be mindful, this isn't what you specifically would be doing for the company or the business that you start, but this is the type of service or thing that you are helping with or topic that that company should be working for, right? So let's say you are really analytical and you love accounting. Maybe you would do accounting for a surfing company. So then you're kind of doing what you're really great at. Think about those first 7 kind of careers we talked about. We'll go into this in a second, but think about this as just, what does the company do or offer? Okay, so this next part is really going to get more at, what are you doing for that company? So this next question is, what skills have you acquired over the years? This can be a tricky one because it's often what you have kind of done for work or something that you've studied in school. If you have followed a path that is true to you, this sometimes overlaps with actually what you're good at and what you love to do. But a lot of times we get into a field of work or study something in school because our parents did it or said we should, or someone told you could get a good job, or you just kind of fell into it, but you don't actually love it. So write these skills down, but be mindful. If you have skills in something that you know you don't enjoy, it doesn't mean you have to keep doing it forever. Let's use this as the time to pivot. And it's a scary thing, but it's so powerful. This next question, I think this is a really important one. I love this question, is what do other people tell you that you're good at? So typically when we think about our skills, it's usually, again, what have we done for work? What have we studied? What have we learned? When you think about what other people tell you you're good at, these are usually softer skills. So this is something like, maybe your friends say they really trust you, you're easy to talk to, or you're such a good, you're the clown that people are so excited to have in a room, or they notice that you're really good at teaching them about complicated topics. So start to think about these skills, or maybe you're always crunching numbers. You're the one who deals the bill at the end of the night at a group dinner, and they're like, you are great at this, right? Just think about what other people tell you you're good at, or what you know you're good at, and these kind of softer skills. 7, this is the last question here. I also really love this question. To me, it's a really important marker of how we should be spending our time. And this is, what are the occasions that you have completely lost track of time while doing something? So this could be, think about those moments where maybe you're just working or painting or singing or doing some sort of, could be work or something just for fun, where it's been 2 or 3 hours and you look at your watch and you think, I thought it had only been 30 minutes. This feels, if you just lose time, it's easy, it's fun. So think about those moments as well. So these are what I call your zone or zones of genius. These are the things that you are usually naturally just really good at. And a lot of times you assume because you're so good at it, that you couldn't get paid to do so, but it's really a special skill. This could be writing, telling stories, designing, reading, analyzing, coding, organizing, you name it. So these answers to these 5 questions 5 through 7 is the type of work you should be doing day in and day out, kind of hour to hour. So whether you're starting your own business or working for a company, before we talked about what is that interest, what should the company be doing? And the answers to these questions, this is the work that you should be focusing on. Okay, so what do we do next with this information? What I like to do when you think about that first set of questions with your interest, use Google and type it in. So let's say sleep is what you're really interested in, helping people sleep better. So you would type in sleep companies or companies that help people sleep. And what you'll get is a list of companies who help in this area. So again, here you see 6 startups that want to improve your sleeping habits, or the 18 best sleep products on the internet. So these can start to give you ideas of companies you'd love to work for. Next, you want to think about that zone of genius that we talked about. So if you go to LinkedIn, this company helps with sleep. So I'm just using this as an example. And if you go to jobs, when you go to that screen, you can also look at people and look at the roles that are listed. You're actually going to see specific descriptions and titles. And this can really start to say, oh, remember, I decided I was good at project management. Let's see if they're hiring for that. That being said, this company, for example, is in San Francisco. They may or may not be remote. So once you start to browse on LinkedIn, you see the type of companies, you can start to see if they're remote, you look at the job titles you want to do. And then you're really just using this to then apply to find remote roles. So there are job specific boards that are only for remote opportunities. So one of our favorites at Beach Commute is remote.co. There are about 8 different ones that we really love and suggest, but this is one you could just start to browse so that you now know that title that you want to do. Let's say you want to do project management. You can look for project management roles at remote.co and start to see, what are people hiring for? What could I start applying to? So to recap, covered a lot very quickly. So again, I'll share how to get those slides, but here's what you learned. First, it's absolutely possible for you to become a digital nomad. There are over 10 million people already doing this, and that's just in the US alone. These numbers don't exist for the world at whole, but there are people from all over the world. There's 60 different nationalities just in our community who are living this life. We didn't talk about this. Percent of people working remotely is increasing every year, so there's never been a better time. The fastest and easy way, if you want to get started right away, is to work remotely for an existing company. And the 7 most common remote careers that digital nomads have on the road. So you've started to see what's the average, what are most people doing? But then we also talked about some uncommon ones and which career path might be right for you based on those questions that you answered. And specifically even down to the job title that you could start to search for on job boards. So back to that question, where was that place that you really wanted to go? I want you to know that it's absolutely possible. You can go to these places. If you get a remote job or start your own company, whichever route you decide, you can get to these places that you before thought weren't possible. You then have the money. You're not maybe paying for a place at home. You're getting paid while you're working in these destinations. And it's a really magical lifestyle that I'm so happy for this summit because you can start to see all the ways that this exists. So how do you ensure the best chances of getting that remote job? So what I covered today was what I call the kind of tip of the iceberg. This is what stops people before they even begin, which is which remote job is right for you. But underneath the surface, there are so many more things to learn about how do you actually get that job? How do you get invited to interview for the roles? How do you ace the interview, negotiate the remote terms, successfully travel while you work? So if this is something you're interested in, we have a course. It's called the Go Remote Employment Course. You are more than welcome to join us where, again, we'll go into this in more detail about which role is right, but then take you through all the tactical steps to actually get that remote job, negotiate the work, and make sure you know everything you need to be doing with your employer to make sure that they are okay with you traveling while you're working and you do a good job while you do it. So if you want more information about this course, this is me in Costa Rica working on the beach. But you can go to beachcommute.com/GRE, stands for Go Remote Employment. And I'd actually love anyone who's interested. You can get 15% off for being part of this summit. So you'll see a bunch more information on that page there. But when you go to checkout, if you use code NES15 at checkout, I'd love to give you that. And that's all. So we breezed through a lot. If you have any questions, or Johannes, if you have anything you want me to cover, that is everything.
Wow, that was pretty exhaustive information, Marisa.
No, it's a lot in 30 minutes. We really could use more time, but hopefully it's a good start.
Yeah, if anybody has any questions, you're welcome to join. We have like 4 minutes more. I would like to add that I also sent a link to the list of 91 jobs, and I invite you to provide the links to your course. I think 50% off is a good deal for people who are live. So please, listeners, use it. And I really liked it. It was a good topic, especially for this day, because as most of the people on this conference remember, we presented this kind of graph of evolution of the digital nomad yesterday.
Yeah.
And this exactly layers on everything what we've been talking about, right? About the freelancer, about the entrepreneur, and about the getting the job at the first place.
Yeah, I love that. And it can be a progression. You know, a lot of people are seeking that ultimate freedom of entrepreneurship. And I like to think that there's sometimes steps to go where if you're just like, I just want to start traveling, get me out there first, and then you get that freedom, and then you can start the entrepreneurship journey as well.
Absolutely. I see the question from Taiga, where can I get the slides? So first of all, maybe you can reach directly to Marisa, but also I would like to tell that in the end of the event, we are going to present, like to make sure we have all the time codes, all the links and everything. And after the event, for a couple of days, we'll keep all the presentations open. So everybody without any rush will have enough time to deeply look through them and get all the information they need. Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah, it's a lot. And if you want to type it, it's beachcommute.com/NES. And that'll give you those 91 careers and the slides. But yeah, we can get the link afterwards and send those because I know it was a lot of information really quickly.
Mm-hmm. Cool. I have a question to you, for example.
Yeah.
So you are currently based in the United States, yes? And we all know that America is the largest digital market in the world. If we are talking about employment, which is the remote job, do people who are present here in our event, they are like all international, have the same possibilities to be employed for the American companies online together with other Americans or not?
Yeah, it's such a good question. We cover it inside the course as well, but you can absolutely apply. There's a lot of people who live in one country. Let's say you live in Lithuania and you want to work for a company based out of Germany. You can absolutely do that. So we teach different ways of how. Sometimes you do have to, it might be one layer of complication. Sometimes people will have almost just working not as an official employee, but you're almost doing contract work. So it eliminates some of that, the conflicts that different rules that different companies or countries have. But there's definitely plenty of people who live in one country and find remote opportunities, whether it's in the US or England or anywhere in the world. And you can, be a citizen of one country and work for another. It definitely can add layers of complication. And when you look at those job boards, some will specifically say, this is only for this type of citizen, or it might be, if it doesn't, it's open to anywhere. So definitely be mindful, but don't let it hold you back because it's absolutely possible.
Sounds cool.
Yeah, great question.
Perfect. Thank you a lot. I'm sure that gives a lot of inspiration to all the listeners here. At the moment, let's give a hand to Marisa. It was a great presentation, guys, and we continue moving on. And actually, we continue with the topic of getting the remote job, because I see that Juliana is also here. I'm letting her in. As I know, Juliana is also situated in the United States at the moment. She is the professional recruiter, and continuing the topic of Marisa, who told us about different types of job. Juliana will make even the step forward and will tell how to get a well-paid job. So I'm really curious about this, and the floor is yours. So please. Take your time.
And thank you so much, Marisa.
Thanks,
for
bye.
being here. You're welcome to sign out as well now. And yeah, thanks so much. And
hello, everybody. Yeah, let's get started. So hello, everybody. Nice to be here. Excellent presentation, Marisa. Well done. And let me start sharing my screen here. Let me see if everyone will be able to see that. Here. Yes. I hope it's working now. Is it all good now? Can you see that? Good. So my name is Juliana Rabbi. I am from Brazil. I have been nomad and traveling for many years already. My background is in psychology, in HR. I worked for many years as a recruiter, and I have been working remotely since 2014. So I have 8 years experience working remotely. So today we're going to talk about how to land a remote job, but not any kind of remote job, a well-paid remote job. So let's go for it. First, I want to say that there is this misconception, there is this wrong idea that some people still have, that when they think about remote job, they think that they have to accept a lower salary to go remote, right? Oh, if I negotiate with my company or something, I need to lower my salary so they'll give me the chance to work remotely. Or they might think that remote jobs are only available in entry-level positions. That's also not true. And some people might still be afraid that they will sacrifice their career growth. Like, oh, if I'm not in the office, people won't see me, they won't remember me. So when there is a promotion, I will never be remembered. So these are some wrong ideas about remote job. And let's explain better what we mean by remote job, what I mean by remote job in this presentation. Let's define it a little bit. And it's a very complex topic. We could define it in different ways. But for this presentation, what I'm gonna refer when I say remote job is any kind of job that can be done outside of the office. So any kind of job that you don't need to go to a physical office to do it, that's what I'm referring when I say remote jobs. But obviously, like most of things in life, it's not that simple. And we have jobs that are partially remote, which means that you can work some days in the office and some days from home. So maybe 3 days you need to go to the office, 2 days you can work from home or from anywhere. Those are the partially remote jobs. We have the fully remote jobs. So it doesn't matter where you're working from, your house, you're traveling, it doesn't matter. You don't need to go at any time to an office. And there is something new that started last year because of the COVID, which is the temporarily remote jobs. So people that are still working now or were still working until a few months ago, till a couple of weeks ago from home, because of COVID, but they know that whenever it's possible, they need to go back to the office. So those are the temporarily remote jobs. And the lesson number one that I want to share with you today is that clarity is extremely important in the process of landing a remote job. So when you are considering that, thinking about a remote job, first you need to decide which kind of remote job you want. Am I okay with a partially remote job? I don't mind, it's fine if I go some days to the office and work some days from home. No, I just want a fully remote job. I want to travel, I want to be in different countries. Or I am okay to start to have my first experience in a job that is temporarily remotely. I mean, I know I'm going to work a few months remotely, then I'm going to go to the office, but at least I add the remote work experience in my curriculum. So there is no right and wrong answer. All the three options are fine. It's just a matter of what do you want? What makes sense for you and for your lifestyle? This is the clarity that I'm talking about, to understand what works better for you. And I talk a lot about lifestyle with my clients and with my friends in general, because career and lifestyle, they are completely connected. There is no difference between it. You shouldn't have at least a separation between them, because your job, your career is what actually supports, it's what allows you to have the lifestyle that you want to have. So the amount of money you make makes a difference on the way you live, on where you live, the schedule that you have, if you have more flexibility or less flexibility, that's also important to create this lifestyle that you want. So everything is related. When we talk about career, it has everything to do with lifestyle. And it's important to understand that when you choose the kind of job you are looking for. So you have space also to not only work remotely, but to live other aspects of your life and to do other things outside of work. So getting this clarity about how you want to live is important for you to know that before you start applying and searching for jobs. And there is one exercise that I love doing. I have done it like 3 times in different stages of my life, 3 or 4 maybe. And I always recommend to my clients. So it's writing a letter from the future. So you imagine that you are 5 years from now, so 2026, right? And you are writing a letter to yourself right now, 2nd of June, 2021, and you're telling in details how is your life 5 years from now. So what time do you wake up? Where are you? Which view you have? Are you alone? You have a family? You have pets? Whatever. What do you do? What do you have for breakfast? Which kind of work you do? Who do you have lunch with? How is your routine? What do you see around you? Which kind of topics you talk about? So it's like embracing this reality you want to create to yourself, and tell your future self is going to tell your present self about it. That's interesting to give you a long-term vision about what you really care in life. And once you understand that, it's easier to set goals and have more clarity about which kind of job is aligned with the person I want to be 5 years from now. So clarity is extremely important. And also understand that you can work remotely in different ways. You can work as an employee for a company. So instead of going to the office, you work from anywhere, but you have a company that pays you every month, every 2 weeks. You can be a freelance, or you can have your own business as an interpreter. But for this presentation, everything I'm going to share is more related to working as an employee for a company, but instead of going to the office, you work remotely. Lesson number 2 that I want to share is that you need to understand what a well-paid job is for you. Because we are talking about, how to land a well-paid job and all of that, but what is that, right? What is it that we are talking about? So if I tell you, I have a job offer for you and the salary is 50K per year, is this a well-paid job or it's not a well-paid job? What do you think? 50K. Yes, it's a well-paid job, or no, it's not a well-paid job? That's an important question, because the answer is, it depends. The answer is, it depends, because there are so many aspects to be considered before you say that it's a well-paid job or no, it's not a well-paid job. So for example, the part of the world that you live makes a big difference. Your monthly expenses, how much do you need to support your lifestyle every month, and which area you work, which sector. Some areas pay different, right? How many years of experience you have. If you're a junior, if you're just starting in one area, one career, is different than if you have 5 or 10 years experience. So the kind of salary you can expect is also different. There are other benefits apart from the salary, apart from the money that you get. So maybe you get 50K plus several other benefits that increase the salary. And is this job, is this salary that you're getting aligned with your career and life goals? Does it support the vision you had when you're writing the letter to yourself from the future? Like this salary allows you to get closer to the lifestyle you want to have. So all those things you need to answer before you say, yes, it is a well-paid job or it's not a well-paid job. So it's a very personal choice. Maybe I have some standards, you have different ones, and that's fine. But I want to share some tips about how to define, right? How to answer if a job offer is well paid or it's not well paid. So it's interesting to understand, it's important to understand how much the market is paying for positions similar to yours. So go there and check. There are some specific websites like Glassdoor and PayScale that they share real numbers of how much They are paying for a web developer with 5 years experience in this seat in the US, for example. So that can be very useful. LinkedIn also is a great source of information. Talk to people who are already working remotely and try to get an idea. I know that not all the time it's easy to talk about money, but maybe closer people will be a bit more open to share with you about salaries in their company, in their environment, in their position. And also, again, back to the clarity that I mentioned, understand how much you need to support the lifestyle you want to have. So understanding those things, answering those things, you will understand if the job is well paid or not. Then we go to lesson number 3, which is, it can be very new for some people. Surprisingly, some people don't know they can negotiate the salary, but I'm here to tell you that, yes, you can negotiate your salary. The thing is, if you do the recruitment process, you get a job offer and you consider that it's a good salary, it's well paid, you're happy with this, the offer, with the conditions and all of that, hey, go ahead and accept and let's celebrate your new remote job. That's amazing. But on the other side, sometimes you really like the job, the company, what you're going to do, but you don't like the offer itself, the financial part involved. So that's when you can negotiate better conditions. There is the salary itself that you're going to be paid, but there are also other benefits, other things that are not the salary itself that companies pay. And remote companies also pay. So I mentioned a list here. Some are very interesting, like unlimited vacations. That's an amazing concept. Sometimes they pay your gym for you to exercise. They pay a co-working spaces. You can get like electronic books for free. So there are different benefits that you can get apart from the salary that you can also bring them to the table to negotiate better conditions when you get there. This is a whole new story to talk about how to negotiate better conditions. I go deeper about it with my clients, but here, just to mention a few ideas for you about how to negotiate better conditions when you receive a job offer. So one thing is always try to put yourself on the company's shoes and speak from their point of view. So why am I the best person to solve your problem as a company? Why am I qualified for that? How am I going to do it? So the more you talk about the benefits for them, for the company, the better. Instead of just say, oh, I want more money. Oh, I think I deserve more. Don't go this way. Just put yourself on the company's shoes. It's going to be a better way to negotiate. Also, understand how much the market is paying for that. If you just want triple of the salary the market is paying just because, it might not be easy to negotiate those conditions. So understand how much the market is paying and you have that as a reference. That's an information for you. Also, be ready to share examples, real examples that the positive impact that you shared, that you provided in previous companies. So instead of saying, oh, I think I can do this, I think I can help your company, look to the past, to your previous jobs and bring real examples that confirm that you have the skills, the profile they are looking for. So there are many other ways to do that. We could go deeper, but just to give you an idea that you can negotiate your salary and you should if you're not completely happy with the conditions, okay? Lesson number 4, the country where the company is located or is registered, it matters. So where the company you're applying for, you are accepting the offer is located, it makes a big difference. Let me explain you why. I got this example. One of my clients landed a remote job from a Brazilian company. And of course, she was gonna get paid in Brazilian reals, which is the coin there, right? The currency there. And it can be a great salary if she's working in Brazil or in some countries, but if you live in a country that has a stronger currency, it might not be that good. So I just put the change here, like €1 is like less than 6 Brazilian reals. So imagine that if you're paid in reals and you live in Europe or in countries that, you know, the life, of course, is more expensive, it can be a bit complicated. So this is something for you also to have into consideration. If you accept a job offer from an Indian company, you need to consider all those things. And also where you are located, if you have a fixed location, it might matter also. Some companies, they also pay you according to where you are located. They have different salaries according to the area in the map that you are located. So location is something that matters. So you want to pay attention also to where the company is registered or located, and if it matters for that company where you are located as an employee. So location is something you should also keep one eye on it. Lesson number 5. This is so important, and so many people don't know that. So please pay attention to this. Pay attention to this one. You don't need to start from scratch to land a remote job. Yeah, you don't need to start from scratch to land a remote job. But you might say, okay, Juliana, but it's going to be my first remote job. I have never done that before. I'm not sure how to do it. I don't have experience. Okay, but you have your previous experience working in the office. You have skills, you have background, you have your studies, you have everything that you have done out of the remote work environment. So don't throw everything away. Bring that with you, whatever you have in your backpack. That's important. That's going to bring credibility to you. So use that on your own benefit. What I suggest, the easiest way to land a remote job is that you go for something related to your area of expertise. So if you are already working in one area, even if you're not working remotely yet, but try to find something in that area because you have experience, you have background already. So think like this. What am I doing now in the office, okay? Can you do that remotely? Or something you did in your previous jobs? Can you do that remotely? So if the answer is yes, this is better because you don't need to go for entry-level positions because entry-level positions probably will pay you a lower salary. So try to bring your background, your experience, and find a remote job related to it. That's the easiest way. Some people will say, Juliana, but I want to change my career or my job can't at all be done remotely. I want to start something in a different area. That's fine. Then you're going to need to learn new skills, right? You're going to need to put time and effort to be good in this new thing, because if you're starting, you still need to prove that you're capable to do the job. So just be careful before you commit to super long course, very expensive course. Understand, thinking that this is the only condition to start a remote job. No, my suggestion is check if what you're doing right now or what you did in the past, what you know already, is possible to do remotely. Start with that. It's not, then you go and learn something new. Okay. Lesson number 6. Also be open to consider remote companies that you have never heard about, the ones that are not very famous. You know, because probably when we talk about remote companies, some names pop into your mind, right? The ones that you probably saw in one event, you read an article about them, whatever. So you probably have at least 2 or 3 remote company names that come to your mind immediately. But is this all? Like, especially if you're new to the remote work environment, it's normal that you don't know all the names. It's normal. But my tip is don't limit yourself only considering the big names, the well-known companies, because there is more out there for you. The big ones, the big companies, the ones that everybody talks about, they're probably amazing, but think that there are more competition for you as a candidate because everybody wants to work in those companies. Like if you say Google, everybody's like, okay, I know Google, I want to work from Google. Everybody is going to the same company. So if you open up your mind a little bit and consider also the smaller companies, the ones that are not that famous, not everybody is not talking about them, but they might be good options for you. Sometimes they pay the same salary or even higher salary than the big companies, and the conditions can be amazing. So don't discard them automatically. That's what I want to say. Be open to consider more companies, not the 2 or 3 ones that everybody talks about. But then you might say, okay, Juliana, I'm very new to this remote work environment. I really don't know companies' name. Like, how can I find that? How can I expand my list of companies that I want to work for? That's a good question. I asked the question, I'm going to answer the question myself. There are different ways to do that. So one way is LinkedIn, because it's for free. It's a great database full of information of company, people you can connect and all of that. So go on LinkedIn in the search bar where you can search for things, right? And in the job part, then you put the job title that you want to apply for, one that you consider that you could do. And in the location, instead of putting, for example, Barcelona, just write remote and then search. So you're going to see the companies that are hiring remote positions, and maybe they are not hiring exactly the position you want to apply for, but at least you know their name. So, oh, I know this company hires positions that are remote, so you can add that to your list. You can talk to your friends that are working remotely and ask which companies they work for, because that's very common. Like, I know that my friend works remotely, but I don't know which is the company name. So go deeper and check which is the company name and start adding those companies to your list also. Attend online events like this one. So well done, you're already doing that. And you're probably going to see that some of the speakers in the event, they work remotely. So try to search for them on LinkedIn, try to, check more information about them to understand which companies they work for. So you can also add those companies to your list. And of course, let's not forget the specific websites and job boards for remote jobs. I mentioned some here. There are plenty more, but the thing here is still to get familiar with the company. So go on those websites, search for positions that are aligned with your profile, and write down the company's name. So we are still talking about making a list of companies you can work for, to do not limit yourself to just the famous and well-known ones. So those are some ways to do that. Lesson number 7, let people know that you are looking for a remote job. Talk about it. Don't hide it for people. I know a lot of clients I speak with, a lot of friends, they say, oh, but I'm a bit shy to say that I'm looking for a new job. It's not nice, or I feel like bothering. No, there is no shame about it. Please understand that there is no shame about sharing that you are searching for a remote job. Networking is such a powerful tool, and a lot of positions are covered through networking. So the more people know that you're looking for a remote job, the better. But there are ways to do that. So you don't want to be the boring person that every conversation is like, yeah, I'm struggling, I need a job, and something. It's like, no, don't be this kind of person. Let people know that you want to land a remote job, that you're open to it. The more specific you are, the better, right? Because if you say any remote job, it's hard for people to help you. So be specific. I'm looking for a remote job as a graphic designer, something like that. And then network in the right way with people. So how to network in the right way, instead of covering that, you should watch Jordan's presentation. He's going to cover this topic. But remember that people around you should know that you're open to a remote job, because magic can happen when people around you know what you're going for. Lesson number 8, the hidden job market is real. It is a thing. So I don't know if you have heard this concept, hidden job market. Let me explain what it is, because it's extremely important. There are studies that says if you search on Google, you're going to find them. So 80% of the job positions available right now at this very moment, they are not posted anywhere. So 80%, the big majority, right? They are not on LinkedIn, they are not on Indeed, they are not anywhere. Why not? Well, for different reasons that we won't cover right now. But the fact is that they are normally great jobs, the ones for higher positions, the one you can negotiate more the conditions and all of that. So how do you have access to it? Because if you just apply for jobs, you're competing with 20% of the jobs only that are posted anywhere. You're missing most of them. You're missing 80% of them. So networking is the way to have access to the hidden job market, those positions that exist, but you're never going to see them posted. And also referral, people that can recommend you to those positions instead of you just go apply for the job, follow this traditional application process. So the hidden job market is real. 80% of the positions, you're never going to find them posted, but you can have access to them also. And lesson number 9 is that a reminder that you should take care of your online presence. When I say about online presence, I'm talking about LinkedIn, for example. Do you have a LinkedIn profile? First question. If you don't, you should. And is it showing your best version online? Like if people search for you on LinkedIn, what they're going to find is this aligned with your profile today, the things you do, the image you want to share. Also, the same thing about your resume and about your cover letter. So if you don't know about it, companies will search for you online. Hiring managers do that all the time. Recruiters, sometimes they don't have time because they're too busy, but hiring managers always check for the profile of people they want to hire, they're considering hiring. So what are they going to find about you when they check you online? So please be very careful with that. You can really get out of a recruitment process if your online presence is not the one it should be, okay? And lesson number 10, this is the last lesson, is that you can use the work from home experience, the one some of us did during COVID, to help you to land your new job. So how can you do that? First, you need to tell people that you worked remotely during the pandemic. So there are ways to do that on LinkedIn, for example. So you can, in your headline is that line right under your name. You can mention it there. In the about area is an open area that you have plenty of space to write as you want. So just mention there that you work remotely. And in the experience part, also like a bullet point saying worked remotely for 1 year, year and a half, whatever. Also do the same in your resume. Make sure you mention that. So don't forget to mention that you work remotely during the COVID in your LinkedIn and in your resume profile. Also, you can be specific about the skills you learned, about the things you improved while working from home. So you can say work from home and you can talk about the skills you learned. That's going to look amazing. And even more amazing is if you can share things that you, results that you got in the process, the impact that you generated while working remotely. So that's called achievements. And it's going like really deep into the results and the positive impact you created to the company. That's a great thing to do also. And remember to mention that you want to keep working remotely, because I talk to a lot of people that are like, oh no, Juliana, I'm so tired of this working from home thing. I don't see the moment to go back to the office. So if you're not one of them, if you want to keep working remotely, make sure that you mention that, willing to keep working remote, ready to expand my remote work experience, something along those lines that will make clear to whoever read your resume or your LinkedIn profile that, okay, she has the experience working remotely during COVID and she want to keep working. So go for it. And please understand that there was never a better time to land remote jobs. Like more and more companies are open to it. There is a big change, a big shift in the world. So this is the moment. Offers are there. People need remote employees. So this is the best time ever to land a remote job. So just prepare yourself. Oh, sorry, I put an alarm here. Yes, my time is almost over. Prepare yourself for that, but use this moment, use this opportunity, because it's a great time to do that. There was never a better time, actually, to do it. And to help you to get started after everything that I said, please take a few seconds to write down on your notebook where you're taking notes, and I find the computer, it doesn't matter, but it's important to write down one action, one single action, this small thing, but very specific, that you can do from everything that I shared, from all the lessons that I shared, that will help you to get closer to your dream job and that you can implement tomorrow, Thursday, right? So sometimes we hear a lot of things, but we are like, yeah, it gets too lost in time. So I wanted to be very specific. Pick up one action, one thing that you can do tomorrow to bring you closer to landing your dream remote job. So please write that down. That's for you, but that's extremely important, because if we don't take actions, if you're just talking, nothing will happen. And I want you to have this remote work experience and land a well-paid remote job. You deserve it. If you're here watching these presentations, because you want it. So just be very specific about what you can do tomorrow to get you closer to your remote job. And if you want to go deeper into those topics, and if you need professional help with that, that's exactly what I help my clients with, to land remote jobs, and of course, well-paid remote jobs. So I'll be happy to talk to you, to share more information, to share, I have a YouTube channel also that I posted weekly videos with tips about career, remote jobs, and all of that. So let's keep in contact. You have my my email and my website. I'll be glad to talk to you, to share more, and eventually work together. So yeah, let's go for it. Let's go for those remote jobs out there, the well-paid ones, because they exist. They are there, and you might be the next one landing a remote job. So yeah, thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Juliana. This was an amazing talk, for sharing all these, all these great insights. And I know you've been doing this for a while now, helping these people. And I think that was super, super valuable what you've been sharing here. And I can only emphasize that how important it is that that we take action, right? We're not just doing this here for fun. This is something for you to get started. And if you're thinking about doing something, getting a remote job, the best time to start is actually yesterday, right? So there's
or today.
there's no time for delays or things, and it can be these small actions that can have a huge impact on your life. But just thinking about what you want to do, once you maybe experience that you get a good feedback from someone, then you will feel much more motivated to go that route and follow this further. And if you need any help, talk to Juliana. Yeah, so thank you so much. And actually now we have our next speaker. And I'm super excited to. So Juliana, you're welcome to sign out.
Okay.
Whenever you want, you can stay here with us a little bit as well. But thank you so much for everything. So now we have our next speaker, and Helen is joining us. She has also been helping in the past with the cruise, and she has been actually not helping people to get a remote job, but more to start their own business. So for those people who don't want to work for someone else, but maybe want to even try and skip this part and go and start this by themselves, we have Helen here. And where are you now, Helen?
I'm in Playa del Carmen, Mexico.
That is great. That is great.
Yeah.
And so I am just making you now a co-host. So if you have a presentation, you're welcome to share. And I will now hand this over to you.
Perfect.
Looking forward to your talk. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you so much. I will jump in and share. Okay, great. Hold on one sec. We will not be able to.
It's no problem. If there's anything you need to do quickly, no problem either. This is live, so we always have a few things.
Of course. There we go. Okay, it's okay. We'll pretend that didn't just happen. Okay, cool. So I'm gonna just put this on full screen and just make sure everything is still viewable. Okay, great. Perfect. So I'm actually not going to talk about how to build a remote business from scratch. I'm going to talk about how to build a freedom-based business from scratch, because there's a lot of different lingo going on in this new nomadic world. And I want to kind of set it straight where a remote business is really already an existing business model that operates completely remotely, aka virtual. So this could be an organization that allows employees to work from home or wherever they want to and work virtually. So this is kind of more like a design and marketing agency and just like a full team, just like a remote job, but the other way around. So whereas a freedom-based business is a business that's actually built around an individual's purpose and lifestyle. So you get to design how you want to exchange your knowledge for money. You create a business model on how you like to work, when you want to work, from wherever you want, and price yourself as however much you want, okay? So because the goal of this entire thing is to live and work on your own terms, right? Because you want to have a freedom lifestyle, travel the world or not. It's okay if you actually don't want to travel the world and maybe stay home and start a family. The whole point is to just gain the freedom and live as a location independent entrepreneur, where you can create your own schedule based on when you work best and have the flexibility to take off work whenever you want to. Write your own job description, decide how you want to work, create your own services and who you're best aligned to work with, which therefore align the core of who you are, what you're passionate about, your natural gifts and talents you already possess into your career. So, but most importantly, you want to discover your life's work, feel fulfilled, confident doing it, and just be completely free, whatever free means to you. So which one sounds like you the most? Because you could be a creative freelancer or a struggling freelancer where you've already worked with clients, but they're not necessarily dream clients. you're not really attracting the right people you want to work with, you're not really sure how to raise your prices, and you're not doing necessarily jobs that you love to do. You compare yourself to other creatives, and then you end up falling into analysis paralysis, and you feel like an imposter instead of just focusing on you. It becomes difficult because you've strategized and helped other people build their business, but yet it becomes really difficult to do it for yourself. And you're probably stuck because you're a jack of all trades, because you've worked in agencies or other creative departments, and you don't understand what single talent you really want to hone in on, but which of those talents you're going to like best to then niche down and move forward. So we also have the 9-to-5 escapee, where you don't know what you really want to do, but you just know you don't want to work a 9-to-5, whether it is remote or in an office. Maybe you've climbed the corporate ladder and then you got to the top and were like, this is so stressful. And now I just feel owned by the company and the politics. You have a lot of skills, but it's really hard to uncover what that next step is. And you kind of feel in your mind, am I really going to throw away everything I've built in my career thus far? And you're just basically ready to shift from being an employee to being your own boss and running a business that fills your soul and your pockets. Okay. You could also be the content creator. You realize it's harder to make money online than you thought. You're endlessly creating content, not going anywhere. You probably care too much about vanity metrics and how many followers or subscribers you have, but you realize it makes more sense to make more money than to have a following account. So therefore you're spending hours writing captions, recording podcasts and everything like that, but there's no end product to what you're selling them, which therefore you're actually doing your subscribers a disservice. So you don't really know the first thing about running a successful business and think everyone else has it together, and you just continue to run in circles. Then you also may already be living the freedom lifestyle and traveling as a digital nomad, but you might be a broke digital nomad, which is actually more of my clients than most, but you've already found a way to make money online, but it's not fulfilling and it's not sustainable. You probably started a business, but you didn't put any proper systems in place, no foundations, no market research, and you never know when your next client's coming in. You may already have a strong podcast or YouTube channel, but you're not making a real income. And I'm talking about income that's not just affiliate marketing and ads. I mean, there's a clear, succinct link. Or you're ready to leave your remote job, quit freelancing, and just start a new chapter with stability and freedom. So it doesn't really matter which category you resonate with. The whole point is it's clear that you need business idea clarity. You know you have something in you that's capable of starting an online business, but you don't know what that talent is to focus in. And you need to know what to do and where to start, plus a step-by-step roadmap. You know, you've downloaded the freebies, you've listened to the podcast, you've maybe even invested in some online courses, yet you still haven't gotten any closer to your goal and are lost in how it actually all works. But you want to live a freedom lifestyle, travel the world, and you're dreaming of a lifestyle that doesn't fit in society's box, and your life is not a cookie cutter and you've always known it. So you feel stuck in this limbo land. So if you don't know me, my name's Helen, and I built my freedom-based business while traveling the world. I've been traveling full-time as a digital nomad or a location-independent entrepreneur, and for the last 4 years, and lived and worked in 6 different continents. So I have been all of those people. I've been the creative freelancer for over 10 years. I'm also the 9-to-5 escapee. If you've seen my Instagram account, I was this hamster wheel content creator, and I've also been a broke digital nomad for sure. I've been in every category, everyone's shoes. I've seen unemployment, self-employment, debt, and very, very low months. So I've made tons of mistakes, got super sidetracked with travel, didn't build a network of clientele, and I just did not take any action growing my business. I wanted to do all the things for everybody and never honed in on actually what I felt really passionate about doing and my own fulfillment. So I was endlessly creating scattered content without moving forward. So finally, I realized that life isn't perfectly planned. It's an experience. You don't have to have everything together. You just have to take action and build your way forward. So I hit the digital streets. I got scrappy and I started completely from scratch. I just asked people what they wanted and started to build my idea of what a dream business would look like. So in less than 3 months' time, I went from absolutely no money to a 5-figure month with a combination of done-for-you creative and business coaching. So what we're going to cover: 3 biggest mistakes all new and aspiring entrepreneurs make, the formula to build a business from scratch, and the roadmap to make passive income and that magic number month that you want to have. So the 3 biggest mistakes. This is me in agonizing pain when I say it all the time. No action, right? You're stuck because you have too many ideas or no ideas. So you end up living in analysis paralysis because you're too focused on what other people are doing. So this is super common. We get all these business ideas and we keep them in our head instead of just executing, brain dumping, doing research on it. And we just stay stuck and we never think that our idea is good enough. So, which goes into having the wrong mindset. You just don't think you have what it takes, the skills or talent to have a business or and work with clients. So you're scared, you feel like you have an imposter and no one's going to want to buy your service. So you have to look at it this way, is nobody taught us how to start a business or build one from scratch. Especially if you've been in a career remote or 9-to-5 setting, you've always been an employee. So everything that we've learned thus far in our life was taught to us. So it's completely normal that we don't have those steps. And we keep looking at people who already have successful businesses and we're comparing ourselves to them and not their actual first step. Okay. And the vanity metrics, this is key. You always think, or everyone, that you need to have a polished website, Instagram, blog, the photos, the services, the bullet points, everything, all your ducks in a row, done and perfect before you can start working with people. And it needs to be the complete opposite, because you're not going to know how to create any of that stuff unless you start working with people first. Okay, so this is where you just have to make the pivot, because it's going to end up costing you your mental health, well-being. You're never going to feel enough or fulfilled. You're going to waste time and tons of disk space, and you're going to become your own worst enemy. Instead of, you could feel empowered and aligned with what you're doing, build a life of where who you are, what you believe, and what you do all perfectly fit together. And you do work that you love and you grow fast as a person and in your business. Okay. So becoming a location entrepreneur is your new reality. As long as you put that belief in, then you can achieve anything you want. So my 3-step formula for building a business from scratch: clarity, connection, and systems. You need all 3 of these to work. So build proper business foundations by solidifying your best business idea and testing it in the marketplace. Create a brand story to attract and connect the right kind of people that you want to work with and are aligned with through their subconscious. And put proper systems in place, from sales calls, pitch proposals, upselling, retaining clients, and an entire onboarding system. Okay, so all of these are great, but they have to work together. So clarity, defining it in the marketplace, pros, you know who you want to help and how you want to serve. What you do is validated by the market. You can clearly communicate what you do and how you want to help, and you feel confident. But clarity on your business is great, but it means nothing if you don't have any eyeballs on what you offer. Confidence will only last so long until you have a proper sales system and automated system set up in your business. And plenty of people have been able to find their purpose, but haven't been able to make a dime doing it. Okay. Connection. Create a brand story to connect to the right people. You have to be able to connect yourself as an entrepreneur to your audience for them to want to work with you. So this is also going to create consistency in all your marketing material with your voice and tone, your visuals and messaging, showcase what you can do as a professional, and also stand out against your competitors and make an impression. So the cons of this is a personal brand takes a lot of work when you haven't clearly defined who you want to help attract the right people, niching down. People tend to brand themselves before validating what they want to do in the marketplace. So graphics will be difficult to create without a strategy, which just results in a huge waste of time and a redo. And you can take that from me, because I spent months building my website before I had a product, and now it all needs to get redone. And you'll just confuse people if you haven't nailed down your niche and collected data as to what you want to do to create a connection, right? So systems, very important. You need to have systems in place, or else you are going to lose your mind and have no sense of time management, and things are going to be a fray. So of course, the pros: automatic system that works for you on your behalf, clear graduation steps that will be built for your audience for upsells and how to retain them, a seamless onboarding client management system, from like contracts and making sure you get automatically paid from them, like on a monthly basis or however it's set up, and a tried and true sales call and pitch formula for your business. So the cons is having all of this is great, but if you haven't validated what you're going to do, then what's the point, right? Same thing like the application process, contracts, invoices. You can't create any of this unless you've gotten clarity on exactly what they need and what you're building and proposing and pitching. And you'll find a hard time connecting to your audience from standing out from others without infusing your brand and voice into these proposals and beautifully laid out as well. So each part on its own is powerful, but when it's combined, it becomes unstoppable. So you must have all the pieces. It's not enough to just master them individually. It's about how these three pieces interact and work together in an interconnected ecosystem that creates sustainable growth. So clarity, connection, and systems. So, but there's one other thing that you must have, and it's the right mindset. Okay. It's the right mindset. Which there's the growth mindset and the fixed mindset, right? So either you look at it like failure is an opportunity to grow, or failure is the limit of my abilities. I can learn to do anything I want, or I'm either good at something or I'm not. Challenges help me grow. I don't like to be challenged. Like, depending on where you fit, you need to shift over into a growth mindset, or you're never going to be able to go out on your own, and you're going to stay stuck with more than just starting a business. So without the right mindset, you're just going to stay stuck in analysis paralysis, and you're going to continue to daydream instead of making your dreams a reality. And you just have to remember, everyone starts from beginning, and they always also feel like an imposter as well. The difference between successful and unsuccessful entrepreneurs is that the ones who succeed master their mindset, get out of their comfort zone, and do what scares them because they know they have to in order to grow as a person in their business. You can take this as a complete example, like, I've done a masterclass before. I've spoken to people live, but that first time I had to really get out of my comfort zone to do that. So everything new is scary, but once you are self-aware of that and there's going to be a mindset piece, you can tackle it. Okay. And public service announcement, as long as you like to do something and it comes easy to you and other people don't like doing it and it doesn't come so easy to them, then you have a business. It's actually that simple. Okay. You only need to be a couple steps ahead of someone else, accomplish something that other people haven't accomplished yet, or overcome an obstacle in your life that you can teach to others. Okay. So the freedom-based business, I'm going to break it down. You want to make whatever that magic number is. Okay. We see things flying around like 10K, 5K, whatever that is. I don't really care. Money is money. Okay. But you really want to create that own schedule and live on your terms and live free. But you also want recurring revenue and passive income. So the only answer here is to become an expert. And the first step is to work with people one-on-one. Okay. So this will allow you to hone in on your natural gifts, skills, and talents, and gain clarity on what you're really good at and what you want to do. Test the strategies you've developed in your life, right? Create a signature style and processes that's going to help you stand out from other entrepreneurs. Learn what people actually need and build your services based on real human data instead of assuming you know what you need, which is a huge thing that people always do. They're like, I assume that you need this. I'm going to create a course for it, where it's never been validated. Okay. And then they stay stuck because they don't feel confident that their product is going to sell. Right. But most importantly, you want to learn about who you are as a business owner, how you work best, what type of people you're best aligned to work with. Okay. So these limiting beliefs, let's tackle them now. I can't work with clients until I know what I want to do. How are you going to know unless you start doing it? Okay. I can't work with clients until I know my services, but working with people one-on-one is actually what's going to determine your services. And I can't work with clients until I have a website and content and all my ducks in a row. You're not going to know what to put on this until you work with people one-on-one. Okay. So no more content, no more creating and assuming things until you actually work with a human being. Okay. That's the biggest lesson here. So, and why? Because you'll gain experience. You need experience to become an expert. And the more experience you get, the more confident you're going to feel. Obtain social proof, because you need people to talk on your behalf and share their experience that you can get them results. Also creating a portfolio, so you have a case study to also attract new clients that have the same problem and same goal and can see themselves inside of your services and program. To build a core service, you need this in order to scale and build. So one-on-one quickly turns into one-to-many. And it has the lowest startup costs and gives you immediate clarity on your business. I did my first program for $700, a beta client. And I worked with 6 people, tested it out, and then I launched it full time 2 months later, and it was a $46,000 launch. That is fast. And what did I do it? On Zoom and Google Docs and my own email, 0 startup cost. Okay. So here's the roadmap for this. Beta clients, like I just said, can I get people results? Do my strategies work? What do I really like to do? You know, should I end up changing my niche? Did I discover I don't like working with this individual person? Maybe I want to go in a different industry. You're only going to know unless you start and do it instead of staying in here in our minds. Then you can build a value ladder, which is your services. What are the client graduation points? What's your signature anchor service? The one where you make the most money? What's that entry level? What would a VIP experience look like, right? And then you can streamline and scale. Can I get results for a group of people? Can I create educational trainings like a masterclass? How can I make digital products for those who can't afford being one-on-one? That could be an online course or a digital download of anything, right? So then you can flip this and reverse it. If you start with a done for you service, can you create a hybrid and teach the process? So if you're a web designer, can you then teach self-taught web designers your own process? If you start with an educational coaching or strategist type of service, can you then create a course so that they can do it by themselves? There are endless opportunities, but you have to start with that core service and start working with people one-on-one to understand what exactly that is. So this is how you scale to that magic number. You become a specialist, an expert in one thing. You make your product and service better each time, gaining experience, revamping it. Then you become known for this thing, and then you can become in demand while traveling the world. And this can happen over 1 year's time. So the first step, business idea, one single service and niche down. Then you can scale to whatever. You can add your services and products later, and then you can help a bigger audience. But you must niche down first. I know this is very difficult, but you got to, okay? So it's easier to find ideal clients that need exactly what you offer, or people have no idea why you're the perfect entrepreneur business for them, right? These are the pros and cons and what's at stake. No more imposter syndrome because you know exactly what you're talking about. And you'll build authority by sharing the things you already know. And the more you share, the more you can prove. So if you don't niche down, people are going to hire their competition because they're much clearer in what they do and who they help. And people don't know how to recommend you to other people. It's one thing if our parents can't understand what we do, but if warm prospects don't understand what you're going to do, this is a big issue, right? So your pathway to freedom, solidify a business idea, right? Niche down, ensure profitability through market research, then start working with beta clients, build social proof of testimonials, portfolio pieces, etc. Create your brand, and then launch your business, okay? That is how you build a freedom-based business from scratch, which, drum roll, is my invitation to you to join my 10-week group coaching program to build and brand your freedom-based business and start working with clients so you can get out of analysis paralysis forever and start building your future. So it's called Build, Brand, Be Free. It's 5 phases over 10 weeks. So first we'll start with mindset and business ideation. So you're going to overcome all the things we just talked about. We are also going to build 3 different business ideas at least. And we call this prototyping and career path planning. So you can have more than one idea. It's okay. Then we're going to do market research to clarify and validate it in the business, and then build a beta service offering after talking to people with pricing. So you're going to pitch your proposal. You're going to have a onboarding, client experience, business automated, all in one system. You're going to launch your beta service. You're going to get them on the phone. You're going to onboard them, sell them, the whole kit and caboodle. And then I'm going to teach you actually how to also work with clients, because you need to create a fully back-end system. When are your calls? When are you creating curriculum? You need to understand exactly what they need. And while doing that, you can create your brand because you're also working with them. And by this time, you've really understood what you want to do. So with this, there's 10 live group coaching calls with me and guest experts that are coming in. There's also an 8-module course curriculum. So you'll have weekly video trainings, workbooks, and assignments to do, a private community, because in this journey, you are up leveling so much that community support is huge, as well as bouncing ideas back and forth. That's what I found the most. Community support is everything. And of course, there's bonus resources, templates, and swipe files. You don't have to worry about writing a proposal, email, DM scripts, anything like that. I've already had all the swipe files for you. You can just plug and play, design templates, and more. So thank you for joining. For anyone that's attending, will receive $300 off. And you can go to this link. It's just a bit.ly link/apply to BBF, Build Brand Be Free. My handle's right here, Helen Simkins, and my website. And whoever would like to, any questions, here's the live Q&A.
Thank you, Helen. Thank you. In the meantime, when people will be joining with their questions, I know that you are staying in Playa del Carmen at the moment,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And it looks like it's really like became a great hub for nomads at the moment, especially this winter.
Totally. There is probably more people in Playa del Carmen than anywhere I know in the world. Even I came here in March and there were 75 nomads that I knew. And what's really great is there's so many entrepreneurs here. There is a weekly meetup on Wednesday. There's one for online business owners specifically on Thursday. We've built masterminds out, co-working sessions. So it's really beautiful that you can, do whatever you want, whether that's starting a business, freelancing, or working remotely for a company. There are so many people here to help support you and make new friends and just build a beautiful community that's all here. I'm so glad I've been in Mexico this time. It's great. And it's on the same time zone for me as the States. So it's just perfect.
Cool. I remember I was in Playa del Carmen in 2014, and it was only me, my girlfriend then, and another guy from Hungary. That's it. Like it was very, very basic. But now, yeah, the things are changing.
There's so many people, yeah.
Cool. Dear listeners, yeah, I encourage you to write down questions down below to Helen, because we have still like 5 minutes, and in order to start it, and I also invite Helen to send all the necessary links to your course, to your blog, in the comments below, so people can use them, right, and get to know you better. Running your own business and starting it from scratch is a really tough topic. Actually, I never had by myself an experience to work for somebody. I was never employed in my life. So from early like student times, I was starting different entrepreneurial journeys, yes. But in the very beginning, I thought it's the ultimate goal to be the entrepreneur. But eventually, after years, I realized that there are some people who would not necessarily need to be an entrepreneur, right? So it's not probably for everybody. And the reality tells that approximately like 5-10% of those who strive, who step over different challenges, they become entrepreneur itself. So could you tell for whom is not a good idea to be the entrepreneur?
Well, as an entrepreneur, you have to wear all the hats. And what's funny with that is I never wanted to own my own business. And I think it's because there are family members that own their own business. And I was like, no. I'd rather just work for someone successful, get the salary and whatnot. And then that did not last long. It's like, I don't want to work for anybody. And then you're slaving away and not making any extra income. But to answer your question, I would say it's definitely not for people who really, God, I hate to say it, but like to be told what to do, honestly. Because some people are like, just give me the tasks, I'll do it. And then they don't want to take their homework with them. Whereas when you're an entrepreneur and living this lifestyle, you really have to find harmony between both, You definitely have to be out there on social media as well. I know a lot of people are like, well, can I get by without it? I'm like, you really can't. It's okay to not use like Instagram or TikTok or a blog or a podcast or whatever, but you at least have to be emailing subscribers. And to build that email list, you're going to have to get out there and do something like this, like a live training, or you're going to have to show up because it's so important to build a personal connection. And I think more so now than ever with after COVID, people really want to understand who exactly they're working with and if they feel aligned to work with that person or not, especially if you're doing anything, even if it's done for you, like a site design or a coach, you're going to be working with that person one-on-one independently. And you want to feel like your investment in money is in good hands. But again, it's also understanding like what are your strengths and what are your weaknesses and being like, okay, I'm an introvert. This is something that I'm going to have to work hard on, but you have other strengths in your business, And I also think once you allow yourself to release what you did in your career, you're still going to use that, but it might just be inside your business and maybe not something you're selling on the outside, if that makes sense.
Cool, interesting, because many people consider entrepreneurship to be a risky job, or a risky activity. But if you think better, what can be more risky if all of your finances and your well-being is in the control of somebody else, right? While
100%.
being an entrepreneur, you push these puzzles and all the buttons in your life and create your own destiny. So that's an interesting topic which we're going to develop also tomorrow, because we're going to be talking about the solopreneurship, which is the first stage of entrepreneurial life.
Yep.
And what? And I think we need more links, because people are writing that some link doesn't work. So please, you can send all the links to you.
Why that's happening? Okay, I tested it too. This is the longer link. And then
this is on our streaming on YouTube in the chat. I think this will be the best place to paste it there, or I can paste it after.
Okay.
Finish with this one. Anyway, guys, as you understood, entrepreneurial journey is not an easy path, and Helen is the person who will be happy to help you go through this beaten road. So please use all these opportunities. Thanks a lot, Helen, for joining us.
Yes.
And it was beautiful. Yeah. Okay, so Johannes, you would like to add anything?
No, I just want to say thank you so much for sharing this, and for being here. And we can now invite Jordan into the room, and Helen, you are welcome to sign out. And thanks so much for making the time. Have a great day today.
Yes.
And hope we connect soon offline again.
Okay. Thank you so much. Bye guys.
See you. Wow, that was a long day, guys, but still we have one more presenter, and he's Jordan Carroll, who will actually be closing our talks for tonight, talking about virtual networking, right? Everybody already experienced how the connections have changed, and if a couple of years ago, a handshake or a similar nice live hello meant a lot, now even a like or a short message can have the same value of these interactions as they used to have before. And I can tell even more that this conference was produced because of virtual networking, that we were able to conduct with Johannes for the recent couple of months. I hope you enjoy what we managed to do for you all. And I even hope that you will enjoy more the talk of Jordan. So please, Jordan, the floor is yours.
Hey, Oris, Johannes.
Hello,
how are you guys doing?
We're doing great.
You've got me nervous here. This is the first time I'm nervous for a talk in a while, because I did something completely new for you. This is a uncharted waters. We're out on a nomad cruise of a presentation. So
that is a great place to test this here.
This is the right place to test it. This is going to be a little meme heavy. It's going to be a little picture heavy. It's going to get a little weird. So if you're ready to get weird, pop a weird down in the YouTube comments. I'd love to see that. Great. Now I'm going to hit play. Let me know. Can you see?
Everything works well. We will now hand over completely to you.
Love it.
Thanks so much for joining us here from Mexico, right?
Playa del Carmen, Mexico. También. Yes, me and Helen are going to have to get together. Johannes, one quick thing. I can't see the comments. I'm not going to be streaming at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
So there's going to be times where I'm going to point to you. I'll give you a prod, and whether you or Oris can help me out with some of the comments, that would be great.
When you basically, what we are doing now is you can share the presentation, and then when you're finished, then we can go into the comments.
Okay. Well, it's less for questions. I'm going to ask people for kind of interactive stuff in between. So if
okay.
Yeah, if you're able
to. I'd stay here with you, and I'm going to monitor this a little bit, and then join.
Fantastic. So let's talk about networking, the principles of virtual networking. And the nice little subtitle I've created for this: leverage the internet to build real, mutually valuable relationships that give you everything you want in your life. Sounds a little too good to be true, probably. Here's what we're going to be covering. Who's a remote job coach? That is me, Jordan Carroll. We're going to talk about the overview of the networking problem, some of the biggest mistakes I see in virtual networking, the 5 principles in which I will outline, and then my challenge for you, every single one of you viewers, to walk home with today. Who am I? I'm the remote job coach, Jordan Carroll. Similar to Juliana, I also help people find remote jobs. I help high performers find legitimate remote jobs. And that's been something I've been doing for years now, and it's an awesome job. I love it. And virtual networking is important to me because, one, it helps me land my clients' remote jobs. I connect people directly to hiring managers and to recruiters. So that becomes a really big, important part of that for me. I've worked remotely for over 7 years. All, if not maybe one of the jobs that I've had in my career that I've worked remotely, I've gotten through networking, generating a 6-figure business. That has largely been due to my ability to network and find clients from networking. I've won a couple sponsored travel contests, mostly from networking, got hundreds of thousands of views on my LinkedIn content for the most part from networking and getting my content out there. I've been on articles, speaking gigs, podcasts, radio, and I've made real friends all over the world. I do not say this to be an asshole. I say this because there are real results to putting yourself out there in the virtual world and networking in an authentic way. Right now, what I'd love for you to do, and Johannes, this is your first call for help, is what are the biggest challenges that you have with virtual networking? And I would love to see some of those comments. I know that there's going to be a little bit of a lag here, so I will give it a good extra 15, 20 seconds. Biggest challenges with virtual networking that you have. And my goal is to, the more specific you can be, the better. And then I'm going to go through some of the challenges that I see and see if we can match some of those up. To give you another moment here. I almost forgot to take into account that there's this delay, right? Because that's going to that's going to be a part of it. But I did test this out, and I should be under 25 minutes or just at 25 minutes.
Yeah, the delay makes this. Well, you can, if you have your phone, for example, at the bottom.
No, that's true. I could do that. I wanted to be careful with the bandwidth.
Yeah.
Okay, so as those are coming in, I'm going to go to my challenges that I see from people. And what we might do is skip through some of these. I still encourage you, please put the stuff in the chat because it makes it more interactive, makes me feel good about myself. And we all need
getting some answers now, which is
okay.
Cold calls, making the first connection. That is one big challenge.
Okay.
My personality.
Your personality. Interesting.
Yeah.
I'm assuming they're probably an introvert.
Cool enough. Biggest challenge with virtual connection is finding a common thread to start the conversation.
Very tough one. And doing it in a way where it's kind of natural, right?
Yeah.
Okay, let's Johannes, I'm gonna keep going just for sake of time here, but I appreciate all the answers, and please do answer all these questions for me again to protect my fragile ego.
Time. Yeah.
Perfect. So biggest challenges. So these are the challenges that I hear from others, and maybe some of these are in the chat, maybe not. This is a mystery to me. But the first thing is that the world went remote. My God, the world went remote, and many people had a lot of difficulty adjusting to an environment where they don't have this office. They're not able to go to dinner with their friends. They're not able to go to sporting events or do their normal hobbies, go to meetups. It really stunted the growth for a lot of people who leverage those in-person moments to network. So again, disclaimer, there's gonna be a lot of memes and a lot of pics. You may not understand all the cultural references or memes that I put in here, but just try to follow along as I explain them as we go. Okay, good enough? Okay. In general, people are pretty awkward. There's long been a stigma around meeting people on the internet and that being weird, which is going away, which is awesome. But people are especially awkward if they can't read body language or nonverbal cues, or people misunderstand the context of text messages, emails, DMs. Many people are just not natural at relationship building, especially not online. And how could we expect to be good at it. No one teaches us the skills to network. There's not a networking or relationship building class in school, although I all think that we can agree. There's a few kids in our kindergarten class who maybe ate paste in the corner of the room alone. They probably could have used a class like this just as we could have. And we don't learn this because we also don't practice it. If we do practice it, we probably don't practice it well since we never learned it. So how can we ever expect to improve if one, we didn't learn the right way, and two, we don't even practice, let alone practice the right way. And it can come across as wildly authentic, even if it's not intentional. Networking, as a lot of people see it, can be this kind of situation where maybe someone who you've known from high school reaches out to you. And I'm not sure if we have anybody on here who does multi-level marketing, but if you've ever been approached by someone from your past who's trying to sell you an Herbalife supplement, you automatically feel maybe some of that discomfort of that quote unquote networking, right? That's not true networking. That's not true building relationships, coming out of the woodworks out of nowhere and asking people to support your multi-level marketing scheme. But what if we could be effective networkers? What if we could actually connect with people in a real way? And it's quite a thought. Many of us have those people in our lives who we see who are connectors. They always seem to be in the middle of successful projects. They have supportive friends. They always have all these opportunities, and that's usually not a mistake. Johannes, I see you as one of those guys. You are a connector. You're in the middle of these clusters of people because effective networking, you've realized, can bring you what? More clients to your life. It can bring you a significant other. It can bring you new friends. It can bring you a new job. Networking is the lifeblood of everything that we do, and it helps you in every area of your life. It can help you solve any single problem. The data backs this up, and what it says is the relative performance of a person on average who is more successful has a larger, more open network where they are the link in between the people from these different clusters. So science says it's true, so we best believe it. Well, if we need to network to be successful, then why do we view it as so difficult? Why? Well, in my opinion, virtual networking, doing networking online, is like hitting the easy button for networking, because you can much more easily not only scale the interaction and relationships in a virtual setting to connect with more people, but you can also more easily qualify those people that you interact with, and if it's the right type of person. Virtual networking is actually your competitive advantage. It's not a hindrance. If you've ever been to a large conference, not including the Nomad cruise, one where maybe it's a one-day thing and you're going there and you're shuffling around and you're passing business cards, if you walk up to a random person, there's usually very little other than maybe a name tag and whatever their bio says on there. And if you get close enough to read that, you can finally start qualifying, but that's a one-to-one interaction and you're qualifying right as you get to that person. On the internet, you can see a lot of different people at once. You can qualify them based on the communities that they're in, and you can look at their details on LinkedIn and see if they are the right type of person. Okay, but this doesn't come without mistakes. Before we go straight into some of the networking strategies that I want to share, these are some of the biggest mistakes I see in virtual networking. Steve Carroll is not happy with you. Now, this one's going to be tough because it's more long-winded and there's going to be a 30-second delay. But think of the most awkward or uncomfortable recent virtual networking interaction you had, and what happened? What happened that made that a sour experience? Maybe Johannes has one that he can think of. Maybe I can pull one out of my hat. But we'll let people put some in the comments here. Give people a second.
So sometimes I get people who just write messages to me on Facebook, and basically they are saying like, "Oh, it's very interested. You're also interested in online marketing. Can I sell you something?" Right? Like
Exactly.
they're going directly into the thing, and then sometimes if I have some time, I reply to them and tell them like, "Look, I think you're not doing yourself a favor writing these messages exactly like this to me." So they come immediately to the point, and I look into our conversations, or they add you on Facebook and they want to sell you something immediately. So yeah, I get this actually quite a lot.
You're such a nice guy too. You're letting them off. You're giving them improvement points. I hope they listen to you.
That's very seldom, but yeah.
Right? I have a
But
video
I think that
that
there's a lot of weird networking happening on Facebook, in the
Yep.
way that people think that they can just add you as a friend and sell you something the next day. And I think it's just like, yeah.
I find that a lot on LinkedIn too, which I'll talk about. And it's really bad. I actually created a video about what not to do on LinkedIn, and I send that video to people so that I don't even have to say anything. I just send them the link and then I get some views, hopefully. So as those come in, I'm sure there's some good ones in there. I'm gonna keep moving here just in the interest of time. Johannes, if you do end up wanting to bring one up, you can just throw me a finger or something. I can see you on my
Yeah, so
screen.
it's basically awkward cold messaging. That's what I mentioned on Facebook.
Yeah.
I mentioned it as well. Yeah.
Cool. Well, let's go into a few here, and I'll write this first one mostly for the guys out there, although it can definitely go both ways. And okay, listen, I'm an advocate of guys shooting their shot. I met my girlfriend on Instagram through the DMs, but unsolicited creepy messages, especially on things like LinkedIn, is always a no-go. Women in our society deal with enough catcalling as it is. Don't contribute to that. And I see that there are a lot of women that have been speaking up about this happening on a professional platform like LinkedIn. So this is a huge mistake. But not to say that it's not like women haven't done this before as well. So it does go both ways, but certainly I've seen it more from males. Now, as we mentioned earlier, many people don't practice networking on a consistent basis. So that means they end up networking only when they need something. And that defeats the purpose, because networking should be a mutual exchange, which leads me to the next mistake, which is taking. Naturally, this happens to people when they only network when they need something. You may notice some people in your life who always want something from you. You see their name in your notifications, you can kind of guess, oh, there's going to be some sort of request for something here. They're going to ask me about getting on that next conference. They're going to ask me about being on their podcast, and, all these different things. But the best networkers give value more than they take it. Don't be the person who's always taking from other people. And then there's the overly sleazy, overly salesy person, similar to what Johannes was saying, the person who only reaches out to you to sell you something. The very first interaction is a sales pitch. And don't get me wrong, I have no problem with those who leverage social media to sell. I think it is an amazing tool to sell. But whenever you're doing hard pitches on a first message, you are not truly building a relationship that deserves being sold to. We're going to continue here, going along with the overly salesy, still on mistakes here. One tactic I see a lot, especially on LinkedIn, is automation. The people that are resorting to robots to do the networking for them usually end up making a few mistakes. One is they make a mistake in their filtering, so they send out these irrelevant messages to the wrong people. Two, they give off a bad impression because most people know it's automated and it's not personal. And three, like the picture in this message here, this is a person who sent me 5 unanswered messages in a row and then asked me to give them feedback on the guide that they wanted me to download. This is real things, people. These are people really doing this out here. And this automation, when combined with the other ones, being overly salesy, maybe even wanting to date someone, like that makes it even worse. But automation in general, automation can be used for good things. And I don't want it to be totally ruined on you to not use automation to improve your business. But when you're sending out messages like this, and then LinkedIn, on a LinkedIn helper or a LinkedIn automation tool, you send me 5 unanswered messages in a row. If we were together, that would be a restraining order at that point. So make sure you're being careful with any of the automation that you're doing. LinkedIn can also ban you for doing that. Last of all the mistakes, highly, highly underrated. Stop taking things personally. As humans, we're wired to create these stories in our head about why people are not responding to us, why they're not responding the way we want them to. But in networking, in relationship building, we must remove our attachment to the outcome of our networking attempts. Remove your attachment to the outcome of any of your networking attempts with other people. People don't respond for many legitimate reasons that have nothing to do with you. And if after a couple minutes you don't hear back, just move on. Not a couple minutes, a couple of tries, excuse me. Okay, so time to jump into the principles. Now, these principles are going to go pretty quick because I want to make sure that we get out of here within the next 10 minutes. The first one is mindset. So I wanted to talk about what the definition of networking is for you. So when you see this, you can go ahead and put that in there, but for the sake of time and continuing to move this along, we will keep going. But what I want you to think about at its core, networking, the meaning of networking is just human interaction. And it's just, for me at least, it's the understanding and the awareness that each interaction, whether online or in person, is an opportunity. It's an opportunity for a conversation to go somewhere. It's an opportunity for them to introduce you to somebody. It's an opportunity for a unlimited exponential amount of things that could happen, right? And human interaction now takes place a lot more online. So try not to think of it so differently as being in person. You still do want to abide by the same rules of respect and act accordingly. And once you realize that every online interaction is a networking opportunity, you can be open to so much more abundance that you didn't see before. That is the meme I chose for this one, but I put it up kind of late. Networking as well. Another thing about networking, as far as your mindset, it's a skill. I want you to understand and really internalize that networking is a skill. Skills you can improve on. You can get better. With strategy and repetition, you can get better at networking. I teach my clients how to network to find remote jobs. Once they start to get the hang of it, the biggest shift in people's mindsets happen. And people who have never tried intentionally networking before start having an absolute blast. It becomes the favorite part of their day. And I want to mention many of them have been introverts or are introverts. So there's not an excuse there to not network. The last part of networking here, I want you to internalize as your mindset for networking. Relationships are not just happy accidents. You remember when you were a kid, you'd be friends with anyone because those were just the people around you at the time, right? You couldn't really do much there. But now that you're a nomad or you're working around the country or you have the autonomy of being an 18 and over individual adult person, you have the responsibility of discerning the people around you. So if this critical point, this critical thing is so important to your success, why would you not take a very vested interest in being intentional about building relationships that aren't just happy accidents? Let's go into principle number 2, which is target. Again, we're going to kind of fly through these just to make sure that we get here on time. My question here was, what is one of your goals? Because every single thing in life should start up with the end in mind and working backwards, right? So if you're going to create a strategy for networking, you need to know what your goal is. What's a goal in your life that you want to accomplish, and how do we think that networking can help solve that? So think of a person who, if you connected to them, could help you achieve the goal that you've chosen. Think of a person, if you connected to them, could help you achieve that goal. And now, what I want you to do is think, what role does this person have in a company? Are they a founder of a certain company? Are they working as a product manager? Are they doing this? Are they doing that? What industry are they in? What industry is their organization in? What type of company is it that they run or that they're part of? What other demographic information? From a general sense, we're creating a persona. We're creating a type of person that you can help filter and search for. And this is a big part of target. And that's why target is so important. If you don't have this structure of being able to know who it is that you're trying to look out for, you will just haphazardly be reaching out to people just like you might do at one of those big conference rooms where you don't know anybody, right? Once you have that information about who that person is, think about where they hang out online. What communities do they identify with? Start joining those communities. Now, it's not enough just to join either, but you need to be active. I joined the Nomad cruise, for instance, because I wanted to be part of this community. There are so many amazing people who told me, do the Nomad cruise. It's right up your alley. And they told me all about the talks. They told me all about the cool things, acro yoga, creative writing, all the things that people were doing on this cruise that was going across the ocean. They said, you have to do this. And I said, wow, you're right. And I ended up with so many mutually valuable relationships with people that not only became clients, but friends, partners, all these different things. It's been nothing short of incredible, the relationships that have come out of this. So when you're looking online, you can search for keywords. You can find what other people tell you is like, hey, you're a really good fit for this. You could find things like a Nomad Cruise, or you can even just search on LinkedIn remote work, for instance. This is just an example, but in this, you can go down and click groups. And here's remote workers on LinkedIn, a group online that another one of my friends runs. Her name's Mandy Franz. You can find these communities all over the place. And my recommendation to you is don't just join these for the identity, but join them for the activity. So be part of it. Do speaking engagements like I'm doing here with you guys. Find a way to insert yourself into the conversation, because that makes it worth it. There's so many other ways you can also filter to find these people. LinkedIn has a search bar, for instance, that has people, posts, companies, groups, schools, events. You can find even further by the company that they're at, the connections status that they have with you, the location, so many different variables. You can even search hashtags in LinkedIn. You can save and follow the hashtags for the future. And one of my recommendations is to even have a bookmark here with people, company profiles, and groups that you want to engage with on a future ongoing basis, because it's going to come in handy later for the next section and the next principle, which is engage. So once you've targeted these people and found them, now it's time to actually engage with them, which I want to bring up this strategy, the 5x5x5 technique. Some of you who've listened to some of my other talks might already know what this is. Notice that also LinkedIn is a huge part of my talk. It was also a big part of Juliana's talk. Anybody who's going to be looking for a job, anybody who's looking to network, LinkedIn is the place to do it. It is the #1 professional platform out there where you're going to be able to find anything for you, with the exception of a couple different industries, but for the most part. The strategy that I'm referring to here, the 5x5x5, requires some effort. I know some people are allergic to effort, but I'm assuming if you made it to this talk or you're watching the replay, you're definitely not one of those people. So let's go over the 5x5x5. First, every day, leave 5 thoughtful comments. Comments are very low barrier to entry to content and engagement. If you leave good comments and show off your expertise, I've gotten clients from good comments, because in LinkedIn especially, my headline is viewable, which you can see on the top there. If you're on a really popular post, which this one was, your profile gets seen exponentially. People will like that post and it will push it to the very top. And again, you can comment on those people who are your target personas. You can comment on the company posts. You can comment on people who have certain hashtags. You can comment in communities, and you can comment in the feed. For people who are introverts, for people who don't like creating original content, comments are the way to go, because they bridge all of that. This little content is like a micro, this comment is like a micro content. It's something that you can create that's yours, that shows your expertise, but doesn't require you actually posting your own post. That's why they're so crucial. The next 5 is 5 targeted connections. So 5 targeted comments per day, 5 targeted connections per day. When you connect with somebody on LinkedIn, always add a note. It gives them context to why they should accept, and less than 3% of people add a note. So your the increase of the chance that they're going to accept and start a conversation with you is tenfold. And when possible, get introductions to people who are in that target persona that we talked about earlier. Introductions from a warm source are always better. So 5 comments, 5 targeted connections. What do you think this last 5 is? It's the one that throws people off the most. And for the last 5, I'm asking you to agree with me that most of our social media feeds are absolute dumpster fires. I don't know if you've seen Facebook lately. I don't know if you've seen Twitter lately, but it's an absolute mess for pretty much everybody. And we have no one but ourselves to blame, because based on the people that we followed, the people that we've connected with, the things that we've clicked on, these algorithms show us the things that we want to be mirrored based on our actions. So in order to take back your feed, spend time every day with 5 strategic unfollows. 5 comments, 5 targeted connections, 5 strategic unfollows. This will ultimately give you a better social media experience. It will make your feed a place for productive networking rather than putting out fires. And it's just going to be a more awesome way to do things. Number 4 here is build, and that's we want to create a magnetic effect to the targeted personas we built in the second principle. And in order to build something that attracts the right people, we need to first understand that the value you create in this world is proportional to the opportunities available to you. One more time, value is proportional to opportunity available to you. Having said that, whatever your expertise is, whatever your niche is, become a creative conduit for 3 things. 1 is ideas, 2 is information, 3 is introductions. Ideas, information, introductions. Those are the 3 things that anyone in this world can use to create value for others. And if people see you as the person who holds the keys to the value of these things, they will come to you. Now, the best way to create value and spread ideas and information and intros is through the internet. Remember, this is about virtual networking, and a virtual platform can be created through expression like writing, videos, speaking, podcasts, painting, whatever you use as your creative expression. Start putting it out in the world. I guarantee you probably won't be good at first, but you need to have the courage to be a beginner. And don't let this concept get lost on you. To create online is also to create a network. I created a number of online video series. The first one was when I was trying to become an entrepreneur. I had the goal of doing that, so I started interviewing entrepreneurs. I ended up interviewing 65 of them in 2 years on 3 continents. I made some amazing connections. When I wanted to focus on my nomadic travels, I started interviewing nomads on a show called Nomad Hacks. When I wanted to bolster my credibility as the remote job coach, I started a live series interviewing remote advocates around the world. These video series ultimately became the reason why I'm on here today talking to you, was because I had the courage to initially do these things that I was very uncomfortable to do at the start. And all of them got better with time. So the last principle here, which will fly through, is leverage. After time of creating value, you will gain leverage. This is something that happens naturally. It's not about a tit for tat. It's not about asking or it's not about expecting people to do things for you just because you do things for them. The universe will take care of it naturally. It will happen for you when it happens for you over time in a very organic way. Having said that, that does not preclude you from asking. Have the courage after you've built leverage, after you've done a lot of things to create value in people's lives, you can ask them for things, and people will want to help you and want to support you if you've done that in the correct way. And if you don't ask, you'll never know. My challenge to you, schedule time for the 5x5x5. That's 5 comments, 5 connections, 5 unfollows per day. 2 is introduce 2 people you don't know online. 2 people you know, but don't know each other, excuse me. So 2 people you know that don't know each other, and ask them first. So each person, you're going to send them a quick text or a message and say, hey, I wanted to introduce you to Alan because he's really great at this, and I think you'd be great to meet him for this reason. You do the same for the other person. Once they both agree, then you introduce them, and do it over WhatsApp. Directly connect them. Don't just pass off a number. Be the person who does that connection for other people. The last one, find 3 people from the bottom of your thread. Each of us have a bottom of a thread. I mean, iMessages, WhatsApp, LinkedIn messages, Instagram messages, wherever you keep messages in your phone. This will be a scary exercise for some of us. Go to the very bottom of one of those threads, the very, very bottom, where you have the oldest messages that you've kept in that. Find 3 people who for some reason you fell out of touch. You don't, maybe someone got busy, whatever happened, no one's fault. Reach back out to them, rekindle a conversation. Do it without an ask. Just say, how you doing? I've been missing you, was thinking about you, wanted to see how you're doing. If you do that every single week, you will always be that person who's just continuing to foster the relationships, keep connecting with people, and cultivate. If you want more, I got more for you. A free LinkedIn networking quick guide, $0, 0 cents, customizable scripts, templates, top engagement strategies, how to build a virtual platform. I'll log into the YouTube now and put that link in there, but I appreciate all of you for sticking with me. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jordan. That was it was an amazing talk. Was it not the first time you did this about virtual networking, or?
This there's some components of this of the one that I did on the Nomad cruise.
Yeah.
But I reformatted it. I did it in a different way. It was the first time I've delivered it. I think it went well. I hope the jokes landed. I hope I just don't sound like a rambling buffoon, which I tend to. But yeah, I'm super appreciative of you having me. Thank you so much, Sean.
Yeah, please clap your hands if you're around there. And yeah, thank you so much. This was an amazing talk. And I think that this thing that you talked about now is more important than ever before. And yeah, it really, I mean, I think that a lot of, for example, the Nomad cruise was also built on me just usually giving a lot more than I take. And eventually people joined the first trips and stuff. And
Exactly.
I think that, yeah, the foundation is actually also a lot on the principles that you talked about, that yeah, and sometimes I was even too scared to ask people for doing me a favor, so I was just trying to be too nice. So asking for things sometimes is also really, really important. And yeah, thank you so much, Jordan, for sharing this with us here as the last talk. And I hope that we meet offline soon as well again. And yeah, thank you so much. And yeah, please download the guide, check out the guide. We're going to also put this into the descriptions from tomorrow when we share these recordings. And yeah, we're coming to the end now of this long day. And
there is something I promised in the
yes, and there's something that is coming now as a thing. Yes.
Okay, it was a long.
Thank you, Jordan.
Thank you, Jordan.
Thank you. I appreciate it, guys. You want me to hop off the Zoom?
Yeah, you can hop off now.
Okay.
Thank you.
Very methodical, very like step-by-step guide how to work your way up in networking from the very beginning to the levels where you produce content and become this magnet of other people to join you, right? So that's how all the influencers started, probably. Cool.
And by the way, this is also the reason why this summit is happening now, because Orest has also been very persistent with me, reminding that we should organize this event. And yeah, so these things, they are, I would say that you're also a very good person in virtual networking, and not just a great host in Lviv, where you're based, but also in keeping those contacts and reminding people. But now we have a present to give away, right?
Yeah.
And then we're just going to quickly talk about tomorrow, and then, yeah.
Sure.
Thank you. Present.
I appreciate that. And yeah, guys, so for those of you who are online, and I see around 60 people still here, now we are going to give away 5 days stay in an apart hotel in Benidorm. It's a resort town in the eastern coast of Spain, between Alicante and Valencia, including co-living access. So what are we going to do now? First of all, just reactivate the thread, the chat. So I see that you are here. Secondly, I am going to share one link with you, which was provided to me by travel department of Benidorm city, and they are working now very actively towards adapting the town for digital nomads. Yeah, it's a cool trend. It's a cool trend that the cities all around Europe and the world are trying to do at the moment, because they understand where the future is going. So for those of you who waited for Benidorm, I'm making the link, Benidorm. It has some legal topics because they wanted to make it properly. So you simply write it through, enter your name, confirm that you are all right with processing your information, and that's how the guys in Benidorm will randomly choose the ultimate winner. Yeah, everything is written there. It will be transparent, and I really trust them, because they are doing something good for their city and for such people as we are together with you, right? So the link is there. I'm going to copy it again. Also, I'm quickly showing you like this digital guide for nomads in Benidorm. You are free to look it through by yourself, and there is like exhaustive information about places to work, Wi-Fi areas, working spots, co-working stuff, the community, and so on, right? So maybe also send this link to Benidorm. Benidorm. And you are free, guys, to get your present. I hope it will be one of you. I am not putting my name there because I'm flying to Benidorm in a couple of days, and will be also testing the infrastructure they are preparing for digital nomads there, which I cannot wait, actually. Okay. So now I think we are done.
I'm just to clarify quickly. So you just shared a link where they're gonna type in some information or something, because I can't see the link here in the yeah.
The link is in the chat on the YouTube.
No, I cannot see it as well. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
So do you mean it's only me? Only I see it, or
yeah,
what?
Maybe. There's someone also saying here they don't see the link, so we need to put the link inside there.
Maybe YouTube is not letting us to do this link. I don't know. Let me. Okay. What about other links? Like, did we see other links in the chat during today? Let me do like this. I'll try to take this link and just use Bitly, you know.
No, it's not. Basically, they don't show links here in this chat. So we're learning, right? This is a live event. We're learning on these.
It's not letting us put link, and no links from Helen. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Let
put the link into the description of this day, right? So you guys, you just check. We are gonna put right now the link into the description for this day, and this is where you can sign up for this. So even if you're just watching the replay, inside there will be the link in the description of this day, and if you add your things there, then you will automatically you have the chance to join this. Okay.
Let's do it. Let's do it live. Can we do it like so just to make sure? Because do you have? I can just change to the Nomad entrepreneurs account.
I don't know if you can edit the description, but yeah.
I will do it in a second.
You will try it, and I will just quickly talk about tomorrow. So today we talked a lot about going remote and starting a business, some networking, like basically a lot of things that are just about getting you started. But tomorrow we will have the Solopreneur Day, and it will go a lot more into when you actually have your own business and when you're you're an entrepreneur already, or you just want to kick things forward. We have honestly amazing speakers. We're starting tomorrow directly at 6 o'clock. 6 o'clock Berlin time with Tijana, who's been doing amazing things from a little beautiful beach town of Brazil for the last years, and helping startups. And please be there tomorrow at 6 o'clock, and we're looking forward to see you there. We hope you enjoyed this day. I'm just checking now with Orest if he's got any updates for us on this little present that we have for you. And did you add the link there in the description of the day, or? And yeah, and then we are
okay. I just added. So guys, if you refresh the page at the moment, refresh the streaming, it should be already there.
Okay.
In the description.
So please check the recording for this Nomad.
Correct, it's there.
Okay. If you check the description of this video, you will find the link for Benidorm, and you can add your things there and win the trip. We'll keep this up now for the next half an hour or 1 hour, right? So, or shall we keep it longer until tomorrow? We'll keep it until tomorrow. so that everyone has the chance to, who is watching this now. And there's the link now as well. Okay. All right. So we have the thing here. And yeah, thank you so much for joining us. We hope to see you tomorrow at 6 Berlin time. Bye.
Bye. See you.